Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
The unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
How the hell are you? We're all jacked up on caffeine today.
Yeah, I had a lot of coffee.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny.
That's right.
Not
in the
bunny.
motherfucking bunny.
Hell yeah.
That's what we say around here.
Yes, we do. And apparently we're going to be saying the F word a lot tonight.
We
So
may be. We've
you
got
have
a
any
guest and we've
children-
got special guests yet to be determined. Well,
come on.
all gathered. I don't know. What the hell's the
I
word?
am-
I've had too much coffee.
Coffee.
It's coffee time.
Oh.
Coffee talk.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
I thought
Right?
that was bad.
I wanted to say a big thank you to our friends that joined us this week on Dark Horse Paranormal. Greg Koss, and I see you out in the
Yes.
audience. What's up, buddy?
Hello, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thursday
thank
we had
you.
an amazing show. And Lynn Monet
Mm-hmm.
and Reggie Randall.
Yes.
And if you guys haven't seen that show, please go into the archives or wherever you're watching this and check it out. We're doing spirit box sessions, and we got some amazing stuff. I know at one point it seemed like we were talking to John Lennon, and we were actually getting like an English accent voice coming through
Yeah,
the
it was
box,
really
which
cool.
was really wild. And we all kind of took turns. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
We
Could
haven't-
you plug me in, please?
Oh,
While we're
yeah.
talking? Thank you.
Well, you're going to have to talk now.
Oh, now I have to talk. So yes, did sound like we had somebody with a British accent, and we really think we were, well, maybe speaking with them. Maybe somebody stepped into a role. We don't know.
Yeah. Good times. Holy crap. Great show, Greg says.
It was.
Anne Marie Young says it was awesome.
Hi, Ann.
And also, I want to start priming this one. We're going to be doing a special Halloween special Halloween special. It's so special. On the 29th,
Dang.
right here on Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Uh-huh.
Our guests are going to be Ken Allen, occultist. He's been on our show before. He knows how to, tell us like it is. And we love Ken. He's a good friend of ours. And another friend of ours, Sorceress Cagliostro. So it's going to be a sorcery special. Sorcery, which we're into, and we're going to find out about its role in
Sure.
paranormal and how all this stuff works.
We
And
basically are. So.
it's going to be awesome. These are amazing people, and I just want to throw that out there. I see Carol is out there. Hey, good
Hi,
evening.
Carol. Haven't seen you in a while.
And
The night.
yeah,
Yeah.
she says had fun. That was awesome. And she's referring to that Thursday show.
Mhm.
So you guys want to check that out. And I need to get a little
I
bio
am
going.
so excited because we have a surprise guest, and I was saying on the way here, I'm like, it's too bad she couldn't join us. We would have a great time. Guess what?
Yeah.
We have a
Agreed.
surprise.
Keep chatting, baby.
What you doing?
Keep talking.
Well, I think I'm going to do a GoFundMe page for a new laptop because this one's like really on fire, and it's not my fault. I break everything. It's
Oh,
the
we
energy
have been
electric.
talking about doing a charity special, and that won't
We
be for the new laptop, but it may be for a charity yet to be determined.
Crohn's would be
And
nice.
sort of super show. All right, so our guest tonight, or I'll call him our main guest,
Mhm.
Matt Barron. He has been in the paranormal field for 16 years, has over 400 investigations, not including cemeteries and historical public locations, under his belt. He runs a Paranormal Partnership Program, P3. So like P cubed. We have to ask him if it's P3 or P cubed.
Okay.
Host the Paracrew Podcast, the Para-Prob Podcast, and co-host the Pitre Dish with Mr. Howard Pitre. He is starting a new small business called Para-Vid Studios starting November 1st, and we're going to bring him right on, and one of our special guests.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome.
What's up, buddy? And bam!
Here she is. It's the same thing.
Hey!
I hear a
We
loose.
have Beth Allen with us as well. How are you folks tonight? Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Thank you for having me.
Hors d'oeuvres backstage.
That was great.
Yeah.
The little side salads to your liking and all that. Yeah.
The brownies were excellent. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
You had brownies?
Always good
Yeah,
around.
that's great. And Marie. Hey, honey.
Missed out on the brownies.
Yeah.
Damn good,
Damn.
bro.
Yeah, we've made damn good brownies and mashed potatoes, and
It's all
Yeah.
about the butter.
it's all
Yeah.
about the butter.
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure I had
mhm.
some pot roast back here, too. It was exciting.
Ooh, that sounds great.
And
Hey.
Anthony's out there.
Hi,
We got
Anthony.
Chris Hunters. What's up, Bigfoot and the Bunny? Matt and Beth. What's up, buddy? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for doing
Now,
that.
how are you guys tonight? What's going on? What's new with you?
Beth, have at it.
I survived. I'm here. I'm happy to be here. It's, I've watched y'all's show, and, it was great when I sent her a friend request, and she was like, how do I know you're Beth?
Yeah, the other day I was telling Chris about this. I'm like, no, you got to tell me something that you know of me.
I threatened to send a bra shot because a friend of mine was like, I need physical proof. I was like, that's the best I got.
That's it. That's shaped like that.
Yeah,
So you've
Everybody-
been hacked. Yeah, you were hacked and really badly as well.
Yeah,
So-
they got me last Thursday. That's the second time I've been hacked. They actually removed my Wicked Woman Paranormal page.
Oh my God.
So I've had to start that all over again. And then Monday evening, somebody got into 2 of my bank accounts.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's not
that's
good.
awful.
Now,
So
do you
I-
have any clues about who it might be, or who's people?
There's
I mean,
no telling. It's so bad out here right now. People, it's everything. And I hate to be one of those people. I don't want to come on anybody's show and be like, the government sucks. But
No, the government sucks.
Yeah,
We agree.
they suck. That's as far as we go with politics.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't.
I don't do politics. So, that just goes back to, aliens, the whole nine. It's one of
Yeah.
those things. So.
Fair enough.
We're covering it up, but we're not covering it up. But we're
Yeah.
covering it up. But look this way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bigfoot's not real, but we actually captured one. And still haven't have captivity.
Oh,
Yep, we understand
Yeah.
completely.
Oh, and Marie, I will send you a new friend request. I'm sorry. I'm still working on the page.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was recent, so yeah, I had to ask for proof. So
The struggle is real. I'm not even going to lie. I'm just like, how do I start all over again?
yeah, that's
right.
It-
Right. Tell
right.
us about your Wicked Woman page. That's interesting.
I
Oh,
started, I was the first person out here to start a page and a show that was all about women in the field, to support women in the field. My first show that I had was called The Wicked Woman Show. And I actually had one man on there because the reason I had him on there was Billy Wilkerson. His whole team is women except for him.
oh yeah.
So I was like,
He hates that. He must hate that.
oh, it was a great show. But I see so many women out here, and I need everybody to, and I'm always on my soapbox about this. We're always, when we're on shows, we're either the medium or we stand in the background. And there are some amazing female investigators out there.
Mhm.
I mean, absolutely amazing. One of the people that pushed me to do what I was doing was Miranda Young, the ghost biker. She was so very supportive because I went back and forth like, I don't need to do podcasts. No. And she gave me the look, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do a podcast. Chris Sumner from Soul Sisters Paranormal.
Mhm.
I mean, very well-spoken, intelligent woman. I could listen to her talk for hours on end.
yes.
And I have so much respect for these women. They're great. They're knowledgeable, and not knocking men, because I got the best brothers out there. I mean, everybody still that knows me still laughs. They're like, Beth doesn't even like women, and she started a girl gang.
I love it. I think that's great and well deserved. Of course,
Yes.
women need the same roles as men in paranormal, just like anything. Like
Yeah.
it's to assume.
Mhm.
But I think what happens is like things get formulaic, and by that I mean once there's a formula out there,
Yeah.
everybody tries to replicate the same thing, and that's
Yes.
why you had so many teams doing exactly what Ghost Hunters did, 10 years ago, and all that stuff, and it's still true,
Yeah.
like what people see. But absolutely, I agree with you. We agree with you, of course.
I'm most definitely, yes.
I like to shake it up because if we don't say anything, and I'm really big on how we conduct ourselves as well, because we are going to be treated, and that's just in any situation, men, women, frogs, dogs, and cows. If you present yourself in a certain manner, that's how you're going to be judged, and that's how people are going to perceive you.
Mhm.
And we have to stop with all the woo, paranormal investigators gone wild. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
We agree.
Yep.
I'm not saying don't have fun,
Mhm.
but I'm saying conduct yourself in a manner where you get the respect you deserve.
There's a time and a place.
Amen. And
Yeah.
sometimes I pick the wrong
Mm-hmm.
place, but
Hmm.
not in that manner. I'm just really, I don't want to say I'm mouthy, but I will say,
We'll speak up and say something. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why I love the show that you girls are on. What's the name of it? On Fridays?
Listen, Queens, and Chrissy and Eileen, those are not just my co-hosts. Those are my sisters. And we got some problems. Yes. Greg, I don't know if you want this. I'm just saying.
Dropped a big hint right there.
I mean, you might change your mind if you watch last night's episode of Listen, Queens. I'm just saying.
Hey, in all fairness, Beth, I seriously was listening to it and I was like, her and I need to do a rant together.
Well,
Like, seriously.
you got to catch me when it's happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm like one of those, bam, here it is.
Yeah, you are too. And that's why I love listening to you. I really do.
Thank
and
you.
You're welcome. On the way up here, I was saying to Chris, I'm like, it's too bad Beth can't join. We've never had her on our show, and I love her. And of course, what we just went through with the friends, request thing, and how got hacked and stuff. But yeah, you were such a great surprise for me tonight. So thank you for us.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I love getting to know everybody, and especially seeing us all support one another.
Para unity, baby. That's
Yes.
We're all about it, and so many people preach it, and so
Yes.
few actually exercise it. And I have to say, there's a lot of it on the Pun Network. There certainly is.
There is. We have a lot of great.
And it's the only place we've seen it, because we've been on different networks and done different things, and they, people say these things, but when it comes down to it, they don't mean it at all.
Nope.
And that's why I choose Para family over everything, because that is real. It is. I'm very blessed, very fortunate. The paranormal community has stepping out, because I was very solitary. I didn't do all the teams, the podcast, any of that. And my first experience when I was like, you know what? I might join a team just to have other people. Yeah, no, that didn't go so well. But then God decided, let's give her Todd and Leanne Eskew. And next thing, we've just been solid ever since. And I've met some amazing people.
Well, I love what you got there in parentheses. Para-Thug.
Yeah, I saw that a little while ago. Something so serious, and yet I giggled because I just saw that. And I'm very apologetic for that. So
we're not going to give you any shit. Don't worry.
No, that's what they call me. I may or may not have body slammed someone twice during investigations. But I'm all about thugging and hugging, because I approach people differently, because not everybody wants the, oh my God, look at you, Timmy. They don't want that. I'm very loving, but I might choke you out, revive you, and heal you.
I love that. That's awesome.
Reminds me of my military days.
Yeah, so
speaking of our histories, if we could, I'd like to maybe ask each of you, and we'll start with Matt. How did you get started in the paranormal?
Just like most, I had a personal experience when I was younger. And here in central Pennsylvania, we really don't talk paranormal. It's kind of taboo. So when I was in the military, I was living out in San Diego. A couple female friends of mine went out one night. They invited me along, and obviously being younger, I agreed to go. Me, group of girls, night out in the middle. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, wasn't expecting what I found. I found a black mass that walked right in front of me, maybe about 20 feet. And I was like,
how old were you?
That I was probably, I'd say 23 or so, 23, 22, somewhere in there, early 20s. And I'll be honest, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But then I started looking into the field. I started watching the shows, getting into it. Never really into the movies. It just seemed like unrealistic. I was like, eh. But the shows really got me. And then I noticed, like, on a few of them, how they help clients out, how the looks of the clients' faces, and that's what I wanted. I wanted that, so I started looking for a team. Found one. Hated them, absolutely despised them, and it almost stopped right there.
I know what that's like.
Yeah.
They were all about money.
Gee.
About money. And I was not having it. And I mean, they demanded like $700-800 from me their first meeting.
What?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. For taxes, uniform, everything. Like insurance.
T-shirt with name.
I think I'd go all Beth Allen on them.
Oh, good job.
Oh, I let them know. I let them know. I let them know how I felt, to say that way. And
Did that include underoos and khakis? I'm asking for
not
a
even a reach around.
Hey,
That was literally like insurance and all this other stuff. And they had a huge handbook that was more than what I signed when I joined the military. I said, look, I'm unemployed. I'm looking for a job at the moment. I don't have that money. Well, you need to borrow it or you can't be a part of this team. I was like, I ain't going to be a part of this team.
Yeah,
Wow.
screw you.
Speaking of teams, I think we're forming our own team here.
Yes,
There's a
I
few
was like-
people backstage looking to come on. I'm just going to bring them on real quick. And I think you guys know these people.
How much trouble are we in?
Oh, we're in big trouble.
You're in a lot.
Oh,
Listener.
listen.
Oh,
Oh, this is going to be great.
it's getting hot in here.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We have to tell our
Welcome to
listeners.
Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Well, thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
We have the Listen Queen, Christy,
Yes.
Mr. Howard
Mr.
Pitre.
Howard Pitre.
What's going on, guys? We're just getting into things. So thank you for joining our party.
Yeah, we just I'm out camping tonight, so I'm doing some camping. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, I see the fire in the background. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a little fire going on back there.
You got a
Easy
tent?
right now?
I'm trying to get it hot enough so I can throw Jackie in it.
Hey.
Get rid of the evidence.
Just remember about the tent and the Vaseline, and don't tell anybody. Remember that.
Lots
Well,
of
it's
it.
just me, her, my son, and my grandson. That's it. So there ain't no Vaseline involved in this one.
Well, thank
I don't
goodness for that.
Great cause wherever you are. We love you. Yes, I know there's going to be something said in the comments about that.
Listen,
Absolutely.
Raymond.
Absolutely. So, Howard, are you out? Is that Louisiana you're in?
Oh yeah.
Some rural destination? How's the weather?
We're not too far from the house.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Is it warm? I imagine it's still nice and
No,
warm.
it actually got into the 50s last night.
Little
I had to
chilly.
break out the weather gear, all the heavy cold weather gear, the Parkers and all that stuff. Yeah, thermal underwear.
You're
50
looking,
degrees. That's freezing down here.
In your long underwear. Are you looking for Bigfoot?
you're looking for Bigfoot out there?
No, I got my own big feet, but that's about it.
Love
Any truth to that rumor?
All right. So anyway, no, I know how this goes. So we were talking to Matt real quick. We were just asking Matt about
Yeah, how we get started?
how you got started and
Telling us about some real bullshit team out there.
yeah.
Oh yeah. And so the short version, I networked with this one guy. His name was Dan Smith, and he helped me get my first team going, San Diego Paranormal Eye. And about 16 years later, here we are. Ran 3 separate teams. I ran one here in Pennsylvania when I moved back, and let's just say they wanted money. They kept basically saying, well, what can you do for me? It's like, excuse me? No, that's not why I do what I do. That's not why I started what I started. So I just said, F this, F you guys, see ya. And that was another time I was going to quit. But my wonderful wife She her and I met in a cemetery. To give you an idea, she's Wiccan. Oh, it was great. She wanted to bury me that night. She absolutely hated me.
Oh,
But now she does it. Now she wants to bury me out of love. But we started talking about it, and I just missed the field. I missed investigating. I missed helping people, and I said, if there's only some way I can help people without the team setting, and she said, well, what about like a consultant? And I said, a paranormal consultant, and almost 2 years later, here we are.
Wow, there you go. There you go. And I know sometimes you are the paranormal consultant when you're out in chats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, or the Paracrew Podcast. It's typically on YouTube. That's the channel that we have. I usually snoop around on there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you must have been burying something and something well to be married now, and there you go.
I love him. I love him. He's my
fed me.
best friend.
She fed me. That was her biggest mistake. I know where the food is, and I was like, yeah, I ain't leaving. I'm moving in. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's a great story, though. I really like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Beth, how about you? How'd you get started?
I did my first investigation when I was 13 years old. It was basically personal experience. I had been having experiences since I was a very young child, and they had seen it, you know, my family being around. But, you know, I'm from Georgia. They don't do that in the South. They shove, you know, potato salad in your mouth and tell you demons don't exist and there's nothing bad. And here, have some sweet tea to wash it down.
Oh my God, I was born and raised with that. Yes.
Wow.
But my best friend, her father owned a house in Hampton, Georgia, downtown. And it's old, you know, and Sherman marched through there. There was a lot of activity for the Civil War in that area. And the house that he owned was used as a Civil War hospital. Ooh. Now, we didn't know that at the time. We just knew there was something very bad in that house. So we
imagine the energy.
It was really rough. And we're young, and everybody else is like, oh my God, we're going to die. And I'm sitting there going, who are you? So that's where that started. And over the years, high school, the chief of police used to pick me up quite often when I was supposed to be at school and I was somewhere at a shack that was falling down or somewhere there had been a plane crash. And
oops.
Yeah.
Excellent. And are you fond of that? Like the kind of places where bad things have happened to people? Do you feel it leaves an energetic imprint?
I do.
So you're drawn to it.
I'm drawn to anything. I can find stuff, you know, a needle in a haystack. And it's, you know, when they start talking to you and leading you, it's, you know, but it took me a long time for acceptance with that. Chrissy knows even me just turning 49, I'm going down another path. I've dealt with a lot of acceptance. I don't like labels, so I don't use them. But, you know, I communicate but most of the places that I've been, I just like the bad stuff is drawn to me. Because when you are a light, that stuff is coming straight for you. We're like beacons.
Yes, we are. That's exactly what I call it as well.
Yeah. And
stupid labels. I knew you were going to say
so
that.
Agree with that. So agree. With that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially within like paranormal teams and stuff. You can get into those labels. This one's the founder and this one's the lead. And like, what am
this
I?
one's got
Just
this
killing
Claire
time
and that Claire. And
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if anything, if you want to give me a label, I'm a Claire asshole. There we go.
Excuse me, that's my job.
I am Claire asinine. There we go.
That's my job.
I want to get that on a shirt.
Hey,
too.
He can join our club, Chrissy, the T-shirt club. Cause
That's it.
Chris, I'm telling you, I got some for everything.
You really do, and we all need that T-shirt when we're on our pun, stuff doing Claire asinine. That's what we're gonna do.
Right across the front, and then Howard's picture on the back.
And I used to freak my friends out. You know, we'd be somewhere, and I'd go, "Hey, did somebody die here?" And they'd be like, "Beth, what is?" "Oh, I love you, Carol. I'm crazy, and I thank you." But it was one of those. I was very awkward already because I lived in a place that was old money, historic, small town.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're walking around going, hey, you know Mr. Johnson down the street? Yeah, he's in our backyard. Beth, he's been dead for 2 years. Well, he's in the backyard.
Ain't stopping him now.
Travel fast.
I hope he's not.
What's he doing back there?
Oh, gosh.
Just chilling.
Well, I don't know if is that a descendant of mine? I don't know.
That's right. We got a Johnson right here.
Really? I'm not
Maybe-
even going to get into that conversation.
maybe two.
I'm going to. So bad.
I tried to pass the baton over to Howard. Howard, how did you get your start?
Well, me, I had a paranormal experience while I was in the toilet, and it moved me. It was like almost spiritual.
I can't. Stop it.
It was a straight up exorcism.
Jason is spiritual.
That's right.
Spiritual. It was spiritual.
I can't.
See?
I almost spit soda out my nose.
No, I've been in the paranormal field for just a little over 40 years. Started when I was in my teens. I don't even remember because I can't even remember yesterday, much less how far back that is. Something like that is. Now I had an experience when I was really young. I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I seen my great grandfather. He appeared in front of me, and it spooked the hell out of me. And I ran to my parents' room, and my mother told me, "It's okay. He's just asking for prayers." So that's. I just left it at that. And then my mom, she was a big influence on me on that stuff. So with the paranormal and stuff like that, plus living down here in the South, everything's pretty much paranormal. Beth, you ought to know that. I mean, hell, Georgia.
You just don't even know. You can be anything you want to be. You just can't be a paranormal investigator in the state of Georgia.
There's a law.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually witchcraft that's banned.
Well,
They still ban witchcraft in some places.
yeah.
In some places, they still execute people. I think Saudi Arabia is one of them, actually.
I think, well, no, not Alabama. Mississippi, Alabama has the same type of thing where their witchcraft is very frowned upon, but it's okay to marry your sister. I just don't understand that.
And in Georgia, there's still a law in the books that you can't have sex with the lights on.
Is that right?
Some of them people I wouldn't want to put the lights on. I'm just saying. I mean,
No. You want a good one? I actually looked this up. In my hometown, all fire hydrants have to be checked 1 hour prior to a fire.
Oh, come! What the hell is that?
It's sensible, right?
So we all have psychics, right? I don't know.
I can't.
It is a literal law. It says they must be checked. So now the running joke is with a lot of our volunteer firefighters, we see them out on site somewhere. Hey, did you check that before you used it, like an hour ago or something? Shut the up! Oh, they get so fired up. It's great.
But I've heard that law. I've read that law before, and it's like I had a list of laws that were actual laws, and they're
Pennsylvania
to this day about the lights on. You can't have sex with the lights on.
The resemblance is so close, you might be thinking you're looking in a mirror.
So bizarre.
Well, it might be your sister. I don't know.
Well, and not trying to be like that, going that direction. Also, in the law book here in Georgia, oral sex is illegal.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Well, then I'm a felon. Holy shit.
I'm gonna put money on your books, baby. It's all good.
Please do.
So what are you in for? Sucking dick?
And Chris will be standing in front of the judge. Yes, I did.
I want to hear that court hearing. I really do. I want to hear that shit. Prove it. Where's your evidence?
Not to deter us away from the topic at hand, but Chrissy, how did you get your start?
I like Beth. I've had experiences basically my whole life. Seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, dreaming. I didn't actually become a paranormal investigator until about 6 years ago. And that was at the urging of a friend who also is a sensitive, and he knew that I was a sensitive. And he kept telling me, I can't. Raymond, behave. Sit fire. Sit down, sir.
Oh, I love him.
That's my brother.
Now.
Sorry.
So, so
Raymond, I'm sending you a friend request, brother.
Worth it.
Power show. So anyhow, yeah. So he kept urging me, and it was, I guess, for me, it was fear of evil. And he finally convinced me to come on investigations.
Mm-hmm.
And once I did it, I was basically hooked, and I haven't turned back ever since.
Wow. That's interesting. I was like that as well. I've only been doing this for 3 years? 4 years?
Yeah,
Or-
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Just a
I
few
was
short years ago.
I was afraid of
I
the
lured you
same
in.
thing. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But it was the same way. I was afraid of evil. Anything, just because I grew up with something evil in my house, something very negative. So my friend
Yeah.
was-
Childhood experiences, we
We-
talk about that a lot
yeah,
because
we've
almost
noticed that.
all our guests have had some sort of paranormal experience growing up, and then it carries over into their adult life. And we wonder, because of that experience, do you wonder what it really was? Do you wonder if your judgment was wrong as a kid? If there's some question out there, or you just want to go back to it, why that's so common?
Right.
Well,
I
and,
know there was a bad spirit in my house when I was a small child, from about 2 years old till I think we moved when I was 8. And I still have vivid dreams of that.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we believe you. We
Oh,
both
yeah,
had
we-
haunted childhoods, and I was more drawn to it, and I loved that stuff. I loved horror movies, and I was more into, like, I don't know, I guess spiritual aspects, like magic and things, like real magic. Growing up before I got into the paranormal, but it was an easy transition,
Yeah.
to get into it. And I was into this stuff, and Kristen and I have been going out a long time, but she really didn't like it. The first time we investigated her residence, because it is haunted, and at that time the activity was really getting a little
Stuff
excessive.
thrown at me.
She more or less gave in, and we did like a 20-minute
Yeah.
spirit box and EVP session, got both back in 20 minutes. Now I come from a background where I had been on teams and stuff, and we did an investigation and would have like 843 hours of data to review.
Yeah.
Trying to break that up, and here we are 20 minutes and we got all the stuff,
So many EVPs.
like her name's coming back, hey Kristen, and all this stuff. So it was really fascinating. She wouldn't listen to it for 3 weeks,
3 weeks.
but
He said
finally gave in, and she's been hooked since.
I remember him. I remember this moment. He's on the bed and he's got like the earbuds, the earphones on, and he's got it attached to the recorder, and he's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know." Every show. I don't want to know, and 3 weeks it took me to, I'm like, and finally I really wanted to know, because he kept saying it's somebody in your family or something, someone wants your help. And sure enough, that a lot of time, most of the time I go out with him now, I get Kristen, help me, or help me, please.
Yeah. We still don't know exactly what
I
they
don't
need
know how
help
to
with,
help them,
but,
I let them speak. So
I think you need to come over.
they're letting you know that they know you can.
right, like you were saying, we're like beacons. They know. And
Yeah.
during my childhood, I really wish I'd known this instead of repelled it.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because I did talk about it last night as well.
Oh, darn it! I'm sorry. Back.
I said, I think to myself sometimes, wow, if I had only known then what I know now.
Yes.
But the
Most
thing
people-
is, it wasn't your time. It wasn't my time. Things started when it was supposed to be. We weren't ready yet.
Okay. Because I say it by now.
Yeah, I think there's probably some
Yeah.
truth to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just more mentally able to take that kind of thing on and not lose your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to lose my shit a lot.
Now
A
we're
lot.
the fuck, so that's how that rolled.
Mm.
But yeah, all good.
Great.
This
This is awesome. I love this.
is a lot of
It's a
fun.
great panel.
I see it as a question or comment. Carol says, my mom still lives in my childhood home, and I know there is something evil there. It even growled at me on the 4th of July this year. I'm terrified of that house.
Oh my goodness.
Now, what do you think about the idea about locations versus people being haunted? Like, I think people can be haunted, but sometimes some things are location specific.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Thoughts?
Matt?
I think it's you can have one of three. I think there's something else. There's also objects, trigger objects, a lot of people forget about too. You've got people that could have spirits attached to them for whatever reason. You can have homes, which can be the house or business itself or the land that it's attached to. Or a lot of people forget about, you go antiquing, you go out yard sales and stuff like that. You can bring something home. And I feel like it's our job as investigators to figure out which is which. What are we actually dealing with? And it's just all a matter of doing your research, doing your background, doing your checks, and having the confidence to go in there and help.
Yeah, I can testify that Chrissy's trigger object, that's a trampoline. I mean, she done destroyed one.
You just keep your mouth shut, sir. Just because
she done destroyed one.
No.
And it was like a spiritual experience for her, and this thing just got mad at her, and now it's following her.
I can't. You talking about my paranormal penis that I'm going to marry?
It's spiritual.
That trampoline in the backyard you got, that one with the big hole in it.
I can't. There's not a big hole in it.
When you stop doing those acts that you do back there out in the public, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
I mean, listen, I get it when I want it and where I want it. It's that simple.
Paranormal.
I mean,
it's a great story.
And I wouldn't want you to see it,
brand new show
that going up and down by my window. I mean, I'm just saying.
Boing, boing. Hi, Howard. Boing.
Chris, that's what we call my fiance. Is the paranormal penis.
Yeah,
Really?
Because it's spiritual.
It is. It's very spiritual.
Matt said brand new show, so yeah, let's bring that about and
He's get his banned from Facebook if we put him on the network because he don't give a damn.
He gives none. He has none to give. I'm just saying.
Filter, none.
Yeah.
None. I mean,
please,
he'd get naked on the screen if I'd let him. I'm just saying, that's him.
That's a Louisiana thing.
Is this how
it is?
His nickname, or I'm afraid to ask?
I thought Voodoo was.
Well, we all do call him the paranormal penis, but his real name is Jason.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you clarified, and it's not
Thank you.
That's what you call them in public anyway.
And he is human. He is human.
Good morning.
He's not a spirit.
Yeah, he's real. He's not like that pirate that lady married that was a ghost, and now they're.
Yeah, we read about that.
They got divorced though.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Something was lacking.
A lot. And Matt, another thing too is it's just like you have to determine what is residual and what is in fact intelligent.
Yep.
And people forget about that. And trust me, as a person that's very in tune with their gifts, you haven't lived until you've investigated an antique store.
We completely agree. We've actually said that before.
Our parents were both antique dealers.
Yes.
We grew up around a lot of antiques.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
Yeah. There's so much. And I actually had a case that was tied to a serial killer.
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Involving an antique store. And I am telling you, I was just like, well, shit. How are we going? They're like, oh, yeah, we're having activity at the house. We've got some of the stuff in the safe at the house. Yo, get that out your house. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I gotta go.
That brings up a good question. So when you have haunted objects, and what do you do with them? What do you tell your clients? What do you do with the objects yourself? Can you remove the spirit? Would you bury it, burn it?
Crossroads, something,
What do you
bring
guys
it back to your house.
I guess that would depend on what's attached to it. I mean, is it just a spirit or is it demonic? Is it what is attached to it?
Yeah.
Because if it's just a spirit and it's nothing bad in nature, then why would we try to remove it from that object? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it chose it for a reason.
Correct.
Yeah, we remember we had a show about that not too long. Well, a few months back anyway. Haunted sex dolls. You remember that?
Take the wheel. We did.
I knew that was coming.
We did.
We did. We had a show about haunted sex dolls. Why not? I mean, I ask those questions that nobody else wants to ask or too embarrassed to ask.
That's true. No, it actually.
What do you do when it talks back, right?
Well, I mean, you figure, well, someone has loved that doll, and
In more ways than one.
and
A lot of energy.
there's a connection. There's a lot of
Oh, there's a lot of.
exchanging, and I mean, why not?
I'll tell you, if I ever see one of those at a secondhand store, I ain't buying it.
Listen.
If I ever see one, I'm just gonna die laughing. Just think about all you guys now. I laughed so hard and got so red in my life on a show.
It pumps itself up. I could have swore I deflated that thing before I left.
Oh my god!
It's just standing in the window, just waving at you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I had one. Matter of fact, I brought one on the camera, and I was trying to get Crystal Woodard on, and she wouldn't come on. So I said, well, if you don't come on, I'm just going to call this doll Crystal. And I did. And her name is Crystal.
I think I saw that.
That's some provocation right there.
Oh
Yes.
I really did.
I cannot in any way right now. I cannot.
Oh, Lord.
Misty Miller says those dolls might have a lot of Kundalini residue.
Oh yes.
I would imagine.
Slippery when wet. Absolutely.
Oh,
That's why I brought Christy on with that. I mean, she sells pure romance, and I was wondering, if that can get her opinion on that kind of stuff.
I sell the product does not mean that I would know somebody that has a haunted sex doll.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, we've never had this discussion and we talk about everything. I mean, do you make sure the vibrators you sell don't have attachments before
Well, she does have some used ones. She does have used ones. And they clean them up pretty good and stuff like that.
I sell Howard.
They like you to put the batteries in before you leave the
This
store.
is something like a buy one, get one free thing.
It's
That's
quality control.
special.
Listen, no.
I really hope my 14-year-old is not listening right now because he usually does.
Well, which brings us to another subject, because I don't know how I'm pretty sure everybody on here feels the same way. I do use crystals as part of because I am a healer, so I do all kinds of healings, whatever the client, prefers. But they sell crystals in these sex stores, and these people put them in their body. Are they cleansing them before they use them? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being honest.
Are they shaped like a penis?
No, they're eggs.
No.
And they do have those too, Howard. But
I don't sell those.
I mean, if a clear quartz one comes out looking like a brown tiger eye, I mean,
that means, that's like the Kesha chick. Remember, her coochie was possessed. Remember?
Oh,
Did everybody forget that?
Listen, okay. So let's talk about. Can you imagine inserting this into that area?
Well, no,
tequila.
they're shaped like penises.
Yeah, I've seen those.
No, I can't.
That would hurt like hell. And believe me, I've actually seen. This is terrible because I'm not.
Put that on your list now, Chrissy.
Stuff like this. I was a nurse in the ER, and you don't want to know the stuff I've seen.
Oh yeah,
I work security at an ER.
This was one thing that tore, and
Sometimes things go in and they don't come out.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
mine.
that's because people put stuff in their butt and think that it's not going to suck it up in there. Items, toys that are designed.
You never know. You don't know. You don't know what kind of vortex can happen with going on or something like that.
Well, that's why.
How many times have you lost your keys?
Well, you're usually
I think you noticed your keys.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, remember the guy that you saw while you were in there, and he was like, "Hey, can you help me find my class ring?" Well, if you help me find my keys, we'll drive right out.
Hey, that doctor had it coming. That was a big ring.
Hey, Chastity.
Chastity Long, and that's not a porn name. She says, "Laugh my ass off. Keisha's possessed by worse things than a crystal butt plug."
Oh God, this is great.
I mean, but it's actually a good question. I mean, people don't realize when you play with crystals, you're playing with energy you have to treat those just like when you have your own personal stuff you wear on you or you keep for you. What's up?
PP,
What's
PP.
up,
This
bro?
is the paranormal penis, Chris and Kristen.
It's the PP.
Hey, that camo's still defective, man. I see you clear as day.
We watched you.
Jackie's actually laughing her ass off at Jason. It looks like he's in the Arctic or something.
Hey, he thinks he is. Jason's from Louisiana. I'm from Indiana, and he's freezing.
Hey, we will tell you in the South, it hits like 55. We're like, oh my God, we're dying.
No, that's short weather here.
It's
Man,
42.
fuck all that. I'm fucking freezing.
I can drive in 3 foot of water, but I cannot drive in a dusting of snow.
Hey, Miss Ada,
I'm
I
lost.
love you.
Yeah, I can't. My mother lives in Daytona, and I talk to her all the time. I'm like, what's the weather there? She goes, oh, it's chilly. I'm like, oh, well, what's the temperature? She's like, oh, it's like 68. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
That's
I'm like, Mom, you used to live in New England. You used to live here. Stop
Yeah,
it.
we're
Be
up
in shorts.
In New England, we're just right today. We're just outside of the Bridgewater Triangle.
Mhm.
Right? Kristen's residence is right
In
there.
yeah.
Maybe where it all started with King Philip's War. Hey, you guys, you're from different parts of the country. Have you heard of the Bridgewater Triangle? Or do you associate that right away with New England?
That's not one. Have I heard of that? I think David Childers told me about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Pretty common. A Conjuring House, I'm sure you've heard of.
David
Yes.
Childers
Yeah.
told you that? You
I
spoke
think-
to him?
Yeah, David and I, when he first moved up there, and I think that's what he mentioned something about it during one of our conversations.
Is that the Ancient Aliens, David Childress, or somebody else?
The Mississippi David Childers.
Mississippi David Childers.
Yeah,
I've wanted him on our show forever.
Right? So
I call him the paranormal pimp.
I dubbed him the Para Pimp probably about 2 years ago, and
There you go.
Yep.
Conjuring House, you guys heard of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
Might have
I've
heard
met
some.
the owners of that house.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I've met the owners of that house.
Jen.
Which ones? There's
Yeah.
a newer one now.
The younger couple. She's got long dark
Yeah.
hair. He kind of
That's
looks.
Jen and Corey. Yes.
Yeah.
They have a daughter.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They
They're
did
sweet.
sell it, and but it's still. They were working there when we went.
Well,
We
what
finally got
happens
to
is
go.
they sold it, but there was like not a stipulation, but they asked if they could like give tours and things. To, the new owner, could give tours and things, and the new owner doesn't really live there, reside there. So when they do give tours, Jen and Corey, they sit in what is it? They sleep in I forgot the name of what they call it, but it's like the operating room where they have all the cameras and stuff.
Mm.
So they're still
right,
there.
It's all hooked up with cameras.
Yeah.
Emery Young says Lizzie Borden area. That's another
Thank
one
you.
you guys probably
Yeah.
know, right? So like all the areas have a sort of local haunt.
Yeah.
The word gets out. In those cases, it does seem like those areas could be haunted as opposed to like people within them who eventually end up haunted. But that's when we're talking about like a geographical haunting versus,
Land.
I think some people are just haunted. I'm sure you guys know lots of people like that just wherever they go, there's going to be some sort of activity.
Right.
Unless you move on haunted Indian burial ground like we did. Didn't know that was Indian burial ground.
Native American burial ground. They're everywhere. So that's what everybody said was their land, First Nations. So, yeah.
Love that place. The Winchester House.
Yeah.
Love that place.
God, that's our bucket list. It's on our bucket list.
Oh, definitely on mine.
My Pinterest page is like bucket list. I got like 50,000 boards. I'm like, yep, that's one of them.
Greg is asking about the haunted palace. The question above, I posted about the haunted palace. I have never seen any in over 25 years of antiquing. Has anyone seen any? Have you ever seen a haunted palace?
I haven't.
No.
No?
I've seen a haunted throne.
I believe that. That's just unholy.
It seems like a softball question right there. Have you seen a haunted palace? Raymond says SK Pierce Mansion is up that way. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I've seen a haunted palace also. Not that haunted palace, but I've seen a haunted palace.
Palace or phallus?
Palace.
I think Greg went with the phallus.
Palace. I don't see the comments. I'm on my phone tonight.
No,
I don't see them.
no worries.
Where did you see the haunted palace?
That was the Sheik's palace. It's actually in the French Quarter, and it's a very interesting story behind it. It was a guy who was he was an actual sheik, and his brother came to New Orleans, and he pretended he was his brother, and he was having all kind of massive orgies and things like that. They were kidnapping people off the streets and stuff like that. Well, the brother found out about it, and he sent assassins to this place, and they killed everybody. They hacked them up and they buried them in the courtyard. There's still body parts in there.
Wow.
And there was so much blood that was coming out of the place. It was running out of the building actually, and into the streets.
What year was this?
I don't remember, not off the top of my head. I had to go back and do some more research because there's so many places that that we do this on, do investigations on. So I mean,
Where's that?
but it's called the Sultan's Palace. That's it, the Sultan's Palace.
Well, with sheep. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
Where is that?
That's in the French Quarter in New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh shit! Yeah, as if it wasn't haunted enough there, right?
Right.
New Orleans is off the chain crazy.
I can't imagine the energy that when we step off the plane, get there and feel it.
And you will.
Nuts. I can't imagine.
Yeah, we definitely want to hit.
That's a bucket list.
No,
Interest.
at some point.
Messed up, man.
Yep.
Well, Chrissy, we got a road trip. I guess I better call Todd and Leanne because Todd's going to want to drive. We can go to New England now. We have a reason.
Right on.
Hey, you got to swing through PA. Pick me up on
I've
the
never
way
been there. All right, look, we'll get the van.
Go.
Todd will be all about it.
We'll meet
Did
in
y'all see that
Gettysburg.
entity that walked behind me just now?
I saw a shadow. I didn't see it really.
That's my grandson, 4-year-old grandson. He come out of the tent, walks right behind me, looks at me, walks past Jackie, proceeds on the other side. We're underneath a canopy right now, and pulls his pants down and starts peeing right there. And,
Teaching them right, Howard.
Playing good. That's all.
Teaching them right.
Oh, and another thing, we could all get together. I don't know if any of you have ever been to West Virginia. Dave Spinks owns a store there called Dave Spinks World Weird, and I'm actually wearing a shirt. He's doing a Monster Con. This will be the second year in May. It'll be, I think, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Ada, I'm not. Can you verify that for me, Ada? Because I couldn't remember the dates, but it's a really good location. It's a beautiful location there, and it's. I mean, yeah. So if everybody wants to come to that, come on.
It's MonsterCon. I just read something about that on Facebook. I don't know who it was that was putting it on or had said it, but yeah.
It's Dave and Jenny.
Dave and
Nice.
Jenny. Okay.
Serenity Jenny. She's. I mean, it's. Yeah, I couldn't remember the date. Miss Ada pretty much runs the day-to-day operations, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you, Ada, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take a
Jason, you're getting frisky.
Yeah, I saw some smirking down there. She muted herself, and then both of them, you just get this big old shit-eating grin on their faces. I'm like, we're gonna lose
I
Christmas.
did tell y'all he's a paranormal penis, did I not?
Well, it looks like you're about to get an exorcism.
I got pictures of that thing.
No, Matt, remember Exorcist, their job is to remove things from things, not put them in them.
Things are going to be removed.
Insert them.
Hi, how are you?
Misty says, I was born in West Virginia.
Yeah, in the tent.
Look at the tent. Beth, I work
Hey, cutie.
all week. And I don't get to see my baby all during the day. 50 hours a week, I'm gone.
And we're on the phone with you sometimes while you're at work because we love you. We love you, Jason.
Thank you.
It's ready to pitch a 10 already.
All righty. Most I laughed ever.
It says Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum here in West Virginia as well. Trans-Allegheny, awesome. Bucket list. Yeah.
Greg, I am working on that. I do want to come up there. I've been talking about doing Lake Shawnee. We all need to do a big thing there where we all come and camp out. I mean, Lake Shawnee is off the chain.
Say, Howard.
Yeah.
What do you know about Jackson Hospital, the old Jackson Hospital, old crazy home?
Not too much.
You know, that's a haunted ass place, yeah. The old crazy home one's been shut down.
I was supposed to go Tuesday night to the old Charity Hospital.
Oh, that's haunted for sure. That's silly right there.
Excuse me.
That's when they had all those people that got euthanized and everything during Hurricane Katrina and all.
I was just going to ask, wasn't that what you girls were speaking of that night? Chrissy and Beth. Yeah, and Jackie. I believe you girls were speaking, and I was like, wow, I've never heard that. I was doing dishes listening to you.
Yeah, I was born in that hospital.
That's nasty. That was awful. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And that's the hospital I was born at.
And that place is huge too. It's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, they were saying. I mean, you have to go back and watch that episode. It's amazing. The Listen Queens.
To Andy's comment, Andy Mercer sent you a link, buddy. Feel free to join.
Sure. Ooh, from the UK too. Cool beans.
Now, Matt, but I don't know much about Pennsylvania. Are you near Mount Pleasant?
Mount Pleasant's not too far. I'm more towards the central. Like if you look at a map and if you know where the Susquehanna River is,
okay,
where it splits, it makes a big old Y through the state. Right in the middle is a place called Sunbury.
Hey, Matt.
I'm just up the East Branch a little bit.
Matt,
in a little place called Danville.
Okay.
What?
I was living in Bethel.
Oh, Bethel. That ain't too far from me. But no, I'm literally almost right dead center of the state. I'm like 2.5 hours from every damn thing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much. I've never been to Pennsylvania. The only thing I know about Pennsylvania is Jason and Serenity Jenny. That's all.
Yeah, I think
and Gettysburg. That's it.
My mom lives in Allentown.
Okay, yeah, that's about 2 hours from me.
Yeah.
About 2 hours. I'm north.
Yeah.
Miss Ada, I'll let you know if I set something up at Lake Shawnee. You know you're always welcome.
Great cost.
And it looks like Andy's joined us. I'm going to bring him on. I don't see your camera, Andy, but let's see if we can hear you.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. I don't have a camera, unfortunately. This is my main desktop, which I do all my video work, editing stuff on, so I don't have a camera on it. But you can hear me, I hope. Anyway, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
My across the pond friend. How are you?
Yes.
I'm pretty good. Just get the guys know. I work with the Paranormal UK Radio, one of the main sort of people behind the manager, if you like. I co-host the main show now. It used to be with Aaron and Mark used to host it, but myself and my friend Kerry have taken over temporarily whilst Mark's doing his own show now, and I'm sort of just covering for the time being. But yeah, so nice to meet you all. I occasionally sort of catch you guys in this show of an evening, because it might fairly as the one over in the UK, but I do like to sort of follow on what people are doing. So it's nice to join you all.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you join us. Thank you.
Hello, greetings, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, we love it.
Paranormal UK Radio Network, which
yes,
go out
that's
on,
what I was just asking.
which is Para Unity, right here at its finest.
Yes.
Yes.
This is love from all over the world.
Absolutely.
That's right.
We know, Mark and Eileen. Yeah.
Yeah, Irene.
Irene, I'm sorry.
All that coffee, babe. All that
Jesus
coffee.
Christ.
We are just jacked on
on
caffeine
coffee.
tonight.
But
Well, I'm the same here. I've been working on something I'm putting out for Halloween.
Later. Right?
yes, I was just gonna say it's like 6 hours, right? From
5,
from
I
us?
believe. You guys
Yeah,
5 hours?
it's 1:45 here in the morning.
Oh
But
my
I've just
goodness.
been recording an audio, a ghost story for Halloween for the show, which I shall be playing out at the end of the month. It's the first time I've tried to do like an actual narration of something. The thing itself worked out about 18 minutes long, but I've been working on it all day. Just editing out the various bloopers and trips over the words and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I'm dyslexic, so reading stuff, even though I know it quite well, actually saying it aloud and rereading it sort of word for word properly it's proved to be harder than I thought it was going to be. So it's going to be a bit fun. But if anyone out there's a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, it's one of his Lovecraft stories.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's
And,
really good.
He's buried not far from here, actually, about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's cool.
No problems.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to tell y'all how much I really love y'all right now, because I've been having a bad night, and y'all have a really good aura around y'all. Like y'all really lifting my spirits.
That's good.
It's wonderful to know. Thank you.
Excellent. Very
glad.
good.
Dude, that's my dude.
Andy, I asked this question of everyone earlier.
Love you, Beth.
I'm going to ask you.
I
How
love
did
you,
you get your start in the paranormal?
Andy.
Oh,
Andy.
sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Chris.
That's right. How did you get your start in the paranormal? What drove you to?
Well,
you know,
if you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you a story. Basically, I live in Essex in the UK, and not far from us is an old fort. It's called Coalhouse Fort. It was built originally during the Napoleonic times, the 1800s, and then was built up more in the First World War and built even further in the Second World War. It's fort defence on the Thames. And as a kid, used to go there sort of summer holidays and that sort of thing with my parents and grandparents, and just sort of, basically it's a country park. You can camp there, or you can just sort of sit for the afternoon in the sun. The fort itself is now completely, at that point, was completely closed up. It was fencing around. It was dangerous, it was unsafe, and you're not supposed to go in there. But of course, us kids would go in there. This is a sunny summer afternoon on a Sunday, and there was a group of us in the fort itself. There's a large sort of clearing in the middle, which basically is it's like a parade ground, and there were kids there playing football. This is English football, you guys call soccer. So we're kicking the ball about, and as I looked up, two men walked past, both in uniform. But the uniform was of what I found out later was from the First World War. Completely silent, about 10 feet from me, just walked past. I kind of looked down, looked back up again, and thought, that's weird. And where they were going, there was a brick wall, and they'd gone. But they were as clear as anything. But there was no way they were there, sort of normally, as it were. It was because the fort's closed down. There's no one there. It's not even open as a tourist attraction or anything. But these two men silently walked past, say no one about 10 feet away from me. So for a good few seconds, walking past, and I thought, okay, that's strange. That's very strange. And I was like 10, 11 years old. It was just like, what on earth was that? But that was my first real experience, and that was like, that's pretty strange. So that's really how I got started, was just sort of finding out what that was all about. But yeah, so that was my first ghostly experience, and that's really what got me into it in the first place.
Wow. That's amazing.
Apologize for this, but how old were you?
About 11, 12. Yeah, quite young.
Wow.
I went to sort of say to my parents what I'd seen, and they're like, oh, that's nice. They didn't really give any interest at all. But I mean, from that, I got involved. I've been investigating this stuff since some sort of early 20s. I'm in my 50s now, so it's been quite a while. I used to work with paranormal investigation teams. You do public events, and I've sort of been involved with those for years. And then I kind of dropped out for quite a long time and got back into it. I met Irene and Mark, became a guest on their show before the network started, and we sort of took it from there, really. Said, do you fancy having a show? Or sort of the first show of the network, which has now grown to about 20 shows. So
right. Awesome. Wow.
Another rich, big family. And
it's growing.
They are podcasts for the most part. And we have a big listenership over there for audio podcasts and also their YouTube videos. Those podcasts. If you like YouTube and you want to hear podcasts, you're doing some other stuff, totally recommend it. You can check out Paranormal UK Radio at PAUK radio.com. And we're on there.
And Bigfoot and the Bunny is on there as well. And we are actually
proud to be part of that as well.
Yeah, because we're number one in the world.
That's right. We just got nominated number one in it. Some big fools.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What's everybody?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
We've been going for about 5 years now, I think, 5-6 years. The network has grown bigger and bigger. We've had shows drop off and some have joined us. It's all been a kind of a move around. But yes, as I was saying before, I've taken over basically the flagship show, which is the PAUK radio show it all first started with, which was Irene and Mark. Mark's now doing his own paranormal perception show occasionally. And Irene's sort of taking a bit of a step back for the time being. She's got some plans she's trying to put together at the moment, which she wants to keep quiet about for now, but there could be some big things happening possibly next year. So for the time being, myself and my friend Kerry have taken over the main flagship show. So
that's wonderful.
Excellent. Well, that's really cool. And I'm definitely going to be tuning into that as well.
Thank you.
Say there. And that's Mark Johnson that we're talking about. Another Johnson.
Yes.
No relation to me. We don't think yet. We
just know a lot of Johnsons.
Yeah.
How common can that name be? It's incredible. We got Carl and Keith Johnson out there. Those guys, those characters.
Yeah, those are my brothers from another mother. We call them Carl and Keith. They're great.
They are cool guys. In fact, we're trying to get a hold of Keith for something. And I didn't tell you this, and I don't want to mention her name, but I talked to a client of ours the other day. And
last night I saw that. Yeah.
She had an encounter with Jesus. And Jesus was a lot younger, had a modern haircut, and no marks of, stigmata or anything like that.
Isn't that right? You said he had a relationship with Jesus.
She actually saw Jesus.
She had an encounter.
Okay, I thought they had a relationship.
What?
A lot of stuff going on around here. That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to make sure. I was like, and she's out on the street, right? That's what I'm saying.
Hi, Debbie.
What's up, Debbie Wallace Hagen?
I can't.
Good evening.
That's a whole nother show.
That's like 2 other shows.
Yeah, we need content, so there you go.
There you go.
Has anybody encountered something like that? I mean, Jesus is a name that seems to she seems to show up a lot of places. Some people see him on toast, some people see him in their living room.
Yeah.
Have you had any cases or clients or had an experience yourself that was sort of spiritual in nature where you might see a Jesus, say, something along those lines?
A guy on my team in San Diego named Jesus, but that's really about it for me.
I can't.
I've seen a couple of them at the mental facility right down the road, but that's all I've seen.
It sounds crazy, but you got to think these kind of iconic figures, a lot of people put their energy, they pray to them, they bring them, they could bring them about in the collective consciousness enough where
definitely.
It goes with gods and goddesses as well.
Absolutely.
I've had experiences with angels,
Mm-hmm.
my own personal experiences. I tell people all the time, I'm rocking with Michael, and sometimes I have to call Thor in. I mean,
There you go. You mentioned Thor, and you believe that to be a real energy, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like it's a real thing,
well.
and we agree with you.
I mean,
it was surprising to be proven that this was true, especially when we get into the mythological type deities and the pantheons and that sort of thing. But they are certainly real.
And see, my belief process is, and like I said, I respect everybody else's belief system because it all goes back to the same. Like, there is a higher power. Everybody calls them, him, shim, she, he, whatever, the same. It's different. Everybody has a different name, and everyone gets to their higher self and their higher beings in a different way. I believe in a most high, and I also believe that there are other gods as well. And I believe each one of us has our own personal connection. And that is, that's and I don't push mine on anyone else, but that's what I have seen and what I've been shown.
That's right. We agree with you, especially with frequencies and vibrations.
Yes.
There's higher, there's lower. Some of us can feel that and see that.
Which brings things back to experience, right? When you talk about those frequencies and those other icons, until you've had the experience, you probably didn't believe it.
Right.
I definitely have a different belief system than I had, say, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and even like 5 years ago. Things have happened, occurred to us, and you go, okay, that's a real thing. That's real now. Check that box. Okay.
Yeah.
I see why people are behind that.
And I'm the same way with him now, because what I didn't believe, now I do, because I've seen, heard, things and felt things, and we just mesh together. So we understand. We completely agree with you, especially not pushing it either.
Yeah, because it goes back to what Chris just said. It is, we start off one way. Like, I had a woman tell me one time, she's like, "Oh, so you're a devil worshiper?" Yeah, no, ma'am, I'm furthest thing from that. She goes, "Well, spirits don't exist." Well, can I ask you a question? And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You read the Bible?" "Absolutely." "Okay, so you believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?" "Yes." "You believe in demons?" "Yep." "All right, there, ma'am. Mic drop. Have a good day." And I walked away.
That's what I do. I go drop the mic. Let's go.
Right, the Holy Ghost, right there. So,
but I agree with your statement wholeheartedly. On, we all start off one way. I've also asked people before that question me. "Well, what are you, a Catholic, Baptist?" I'm Catholic." "Okay, can I ask you a question?" "Absolutely." "Well, why are you Catholic, ma'am?" And she looks at me. "Well, because why? Because your parents were Catholic? Because your grandparents were Catholic? Is that why you're Catholic?" And she sat there and looked at me. She goes, "Wow." I was like, "Yeah, because you were not given free will to follow what your spiritual path is. The decision was made for you. Like, before I could walk, talk, use the bathroom by myself, I was raised in a Baptist church.
Mm.
And I used that foundation, and we evolved.
Yeah. Right. Southern Baptist. Good Lord. I understand that. Been there, done that. With
Thank goodness it was just Baptist, not too much Southern. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it is almost like a peer pressure, right? You brought into a religion and you just accept it. Well, this is what it must be. Mommy and daddy said so, and then that therefore
I am so thankful for my mother. Yeah.
I let my children choose their path.
Exactly.
Some people would think that's bad parenting, but they went to church with my grandparents, so they had the foundation.
Right.
And then they were free to choose.
Exactly. The free will. I love that. We use that term often.
My parents were a lot like that too, and look at me now. No, seriously, they were. They didn't force anything on me, so I was able to make my own choices, and I didn't turn out so
I mean,
bad.
I went to catechism. I went to church, but that was from my grandmother's choice. My mother she didn't really mind, but my mother taught me all about nature since I was beginning to walk. We used to, nature, herbs, I mean, everything. So, I mean, thank God for her, because I went on a totally different path than I wanted to. I wasn't happy in church with my grandma going, your eyebrows, licking her finger. One of those. Yeah, no. So thank goodness for that. But a lot of people don't have that, like you were saying.
They don't.
And they should. That's the thing. Question everything.
Not that there's anything wrong with that choice if you're making that choice.
No, not at all.
If that's what works for you, and that's what lifts you up in your soul. I mean, and it's like Chrissy and I, like I said, we're on the phone a majority of the time. If she ain't on the phone with me, she's on the phone with Jason.
There it is.
There's Chrissy right now.
And my phone's ringing, and I'm like, why is my phone ringing?
It's Chrissy.
No,
it's a Curtis. But we talk about different things, and one of those that you just mentioned was the different how people's vibrations are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is at different vibrations. You got people that are vibrate at a lower level, and you kind of want to steer clear of them unless you're trying to help them bring that up.
Right.
And it can be done. And then you've got people that vibrate at a whole nother level, and you're like, whoa, what is that? Do they come with batteries?
Yeah, we're back to those batteries again.
Yeah, well, we've had guests on like that where I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so anxious because she's so, or he's so, one of those, like, I'm like, wow, I can feel it, Hi, Jenny.
Yeah, and so much is a subjective experience, right? With religion and also the paranormal. You can have a group of 10 people, an apparition, full-bodied apparition appears right there on the stairwell or something, and only like 3 of them see it.
3 people see it.
So what happened? Did it happen or didn't it happen? Yeah. So until you've had that experience where you saw the apparition, you might not believe in it, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. The rest of you, have you ever had an experience in the paranormal that changed your belief system? I pitch this to everyone.
Well, honestly, for me, in all seriousness, the paranormal has actually led me deeper in my faith. I spoke earlier about helping people. Well, when you go in and you get closure to these people, you feel energy differences. You just have these experiences that we have. It's different. You can't explain it to people. You can't, explain that feeling of the heaviness when you go in. You get closure for your client or for the spirit, and you walk out, and the entire atmosphere feels different.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't tell somebody on the outside, this is how you feel. This is how it is. This is whatever. You just, there's no explaining it. You just have to experience it. So when I started doing this and I started, investigating and taking on clientele, it led me to want to help more, which led me to becoming ordained. So then I started reading and studying and, getting, practicing blessings and cleansings and being able to confidently do them and actually help people even further. and not just in, a Christian faith, because I was born Methodist, raised, confirmed Methodist.
Mm-hmm.
But I started, in the paranormal again, started realizing, like what Beth was saying, a lot of religions are connected, if not all of them are connected. So that opened up the new spectrum to Wicca, paganism, Buddhism, Taoism, everything, Judaism. And I started realizing these clients, you were going to go into these homes and you can't go in to a Jewish house and do a Christian blessing. That's going to make them very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to start practicing and, actually like taking it seriously.
Well, that's what you call eclectic, and that's what we are. We agree with you wholeheartedly. We go into somebody's residence, like you said, it could make them uncomfortable because they don't feel that way.
Yep.
So you have to, really go tippy toe around it and ask you, unfortunately, and feel, and
I think it's good to keep an open mind.
Absolutely.
Anyone else have an experience in the paranormal that changed your belief system?
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I like that answer.
It was good. That was great. Chrissy, what do you think? What?
Well, here's my thing. I think I can't say that one thing specific experience wise has changed my way of thinking or my faith-based way of feeling, but I can say that I think that it's important for anyone in the paranormal to have some sort of faith, whatever it may be, to that higher power, to understand that there's blind faith. Because anybody who believes in paranormal really has to understand what blind faith is. Because if you walk into a location, and this is for any paranormal investigator, there are things that you're gonna see that you have to know that yes, this is paranormal, or no, it's not paranormal, and you have to have that faith that backs. Okay, I did hear what I just heard. Okay, I did see what I just see. It's that blind faith, and I just think it's important. I don't personally judge anybody based on their religious belief. If people ask me my personal opinion on mine, I will give it, but I take a little from everything, and I do have Indian in my blood, so I also take a little bit from that, which kind of puts a spin on my perspective on things. So that's my thoughts.
That's excellent.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Beth, we're getting a little bit of noise from your end.
I'm
not sure.
I don't know what it is.
There it is. It was your mic. As soon as you held it, it stopped.
There, you got it.
Done.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, I am a little special, so I have to ask.
You're not special.
Very special.
We're all special here, and that's why we wanted you guys. Come
That's
on,
right.
and thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Andy, yourself, have you had an experience in your life that changed the way you think, something paranormal?
I was just thinking about what you're discussing now. I mean, I think one of the things that's quite different here in the UK with paranormal investigating is faith, belief, etc., religion play a far smaller part. A lot of the people I've worked with are far more agnostic or even outright atheists, don't have a particular faith or belief, but experience things as they appear. I mean, my own approach has always been that what I experience strange things. I'm doing investigations. I've seen many strange things. I've recorded quite a few of them as well on video and audio, but I don't have a structure of faith behind them at all. I mean, I'm not a Christian in any shape or form, never have been. I've never really followed any particular religion. I try to be more just pure evidence-based. Don't want to go with any kind of set beliefs beforehand. Just work phenomenologically, as in what's the phenomenon I'm seeing and experiencing. I am very much involved in the occult. I have written several books on various aspects of the occult, which I don't know if you guys know about, but that's more my background. I've worked with ritual magic, ceremonial magic for many, many years, and have encountered all sorts of strange phenomena and experiences through that. One of the things I've noticed is that you can work with very different systems of magic and yet have appropriate results that concur with what you're trying to work with. So either there is a vast array of spirits out there, or what I think is they don't have a particular identity. It depends how you approach them, what ideas you bring to the table, if you like, and then they will appear in accordance with those beliefs. So they change form or shape. It's kind of almost like John Keel kind of approach of not having an actual identity as such. Just you get these things that manifest in certain ways depending on how you're working with them. I have had some very profound experiences working with ritual magic, certainly, that are some off the scale strange, they really would freak a lot of people out. But when you've been involved in it for over 30 years, you do know what you're doing. People say, oh, you shouldn't dabble, you do what you're doing. But when you've been in it this long, you do know what you're doing. I am more involved in scrying than anything else, where you travel to locations, sort of mentally, if you like. You don't bring the forces to you, you go out to them. I work a lot with what's called Enochian magic of Dr. John Dee from the Elizabethan period.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And my first book was on that. It was on Enochian magic. I've also worked with the runes. My second book was on runes. I also work with proper traditional historic witchcraft from the UK. I've written about that as well. So it's quite an eclectic collection. But what I've found, they work. That's the thing. Different systems, very, very different to each other, yet seem to produce results. So it does seem to be that the mindset and energy you go into something will generate or will respond back to you. There's no doubt in my mind these things are genuinely real, but I think they're more deep subconscious stuff, collective unconscious. I'm also a Jungian psychotherapist, so I come from that approach as well. So for me, it is archetypes of the collective unconscious is what we're experiencing and working with. I don't know, that could be completely nonsense, but for me, over the years, that's been my experience. The fact that these things seem very different and yet all seem to respond in a certain way in accordance to how you're working. So that's been my experience. There's no specific event I can recall apart from that very first thing at 11 years old, which quite frankly was amazing, and I've never forgotten. I can still remember like it was yesterday. Apart from that, there have been lots of events and experiences which I've had both on investigations where I've seen phenomena and recorded, as I say, some phenomena that I just cannot explain. And also the ritual work I've done sort of at home and sort of out and about. It's convinced me there's something there. There's something more to us than simply the flesh and blood. But whether there's whether the structure of religion really answers those questions for me or not, I don't know. I've not found one that fits for me at all. I mean, as I say, not raised Christian or anything.
So then, Andy, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So then, if you have no tradition of religious beliefs, then life after death means, does that mean a higher power for you, or do you still not define that?
I wouldn't really put a label on any of it. I mean, I've spent quite a bit of time studying sort of particularly Hinduism and Buddhism, and both of those have inherent within the belief systems an idea of reincarnation rather than an afterlife. So you have it's kind of almost incompatible. You can't have one or the other. It's whether you become, for me, you become part of the whole again, like you become part of the one of the universe, if you like, once you're no longer alive. The record of who you were, your energy, if you like, continues to be around in a sort of the collective unconscious, if you like, that you tap into that. But whether you go beyond to anything else, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Dante, and I've written a book actually on Dante's Inferno, and Dante really defined the idea of hell for Christianity in the 1300s. His writing became the basis of how we understand hell now. So, of course, you think, well, what was before that were different ideas. So sort of studying those ideas and how he puts them forward, it gives you a sense of there could be more going on. I mean, he talked about different levels of hell, different kinds of forms of hell, rather than just the one hell that we talk about in just general Christianity. So for me, they're all possible. Something is going on. There's something is left behind. Now, whether it's an intelligent spiritual force that's come from heaven or it's some residual energy that remains with us that we can tap into or contact, I don't know. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, I can respect that. I just wanted your opinion. You're fine.
And I have to comment here, Andy. You have the best friggin' voice.
No shit, right?
Like, Tell me stories, sir. Oh my God, that's awesome.
When I finally slow down, because I tend to talk quite quickly, and it's something I've been trying not to do, but I get quite enthused with stuff. I try and slow down a bit more. As I say, having spent the best part of 6 hours editing together 18 minutes of audio,
it can be really daunting.
Tedious.
You know, that's why we do a lot of our shows. Well, really all of our shows right now live. We started out doing pre-records. And it was really a lot of work, and it's not getting done. I've got 10 hours of this thing. Still saying between sentences like way too much. And, it's like chopping those things out, and it's very time consuming.
Bloopers up the yin yang, so it's just like,
really, a blooper.
Well, and you
I love the interaction of live shows.
Yeah, I don't tend to do very many live. Again, we quite the reverse. All our shows are pre-recorded. For that reason, you cut out all the bloopers and the mistakes, if you like.
Right.
You can remove those quite easily. So,
Andy, that's what makes them good. That's what makes them fun.
All my shows are nothing but bloopers.
I leave some.
You have both things there, and it's wonderful. And there are wonderful things to both things, you know. I think I like the live aspect where there's almost like a feeling of danger, like anything could happen.
Yes.
But if we record, it's almost like a,
which is awesome.
you know, a work of art that you're working on. Like, I got to get this right, and there's a flow, and you know.
I must admit, before I became part of this network, I did do another show weekly on a Sunday evening that was about 3 hours long, and that was always live as well. So that was interesting, good fun. We used to have a lot of like news coverage of paranormal stuff, and we talk about various topics. Then we'd have a guest on as well. Often go for like 2 or 3 hours a week, which was good fun. The other two that I did that show with, they've since sort of left the paranormal world completely. They've just dropped out, but they both used to. One's a former singer, and the other used to be a DJ. So they're both well used to using microphones and great equipment. So it was great fun. But yeah, we had some very odd things go on with the live show. Certainly, it was amusing.
Definitely.
Sure.
Well, that's why Chrissy's in control of the mute button and the end stream button.
I always wondered who was in control of those buttons.
I have to put that in the hands of others just in case.
Well, I don't want to leave Howard out of this. Howard,
Yes.
did you have any experiences in the paranormal that changed your belief system?
I haven't changed my belief system. I'm Catholic. I'm Roman Catholic, and I haven't changed my belief system. But the system, the Catholic religion doesn't believe in the things I believe in. If you understand that, they don't believe in ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but to me, you know, you make the sign of the cross, and that's thrown in there, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I mean, it tells you right there that there's something going on.
It's
So
more like
that's-
control of the afterlife, I think, with a lot of spirituality and
Well,
religion.
I
want to say
think a lot of religions do that, though. I think that the whole thing is about some of the religions. I think it's a control thing. And like I say, I am Roman Catholic, but I believe I don't have to go to a man and tell him my sins. I can just sit out on my front porch and talk to God. You know, that's my belief.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
and confess them to your dog, and it does. You know, it makes you feel better.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, but I mean, I'm an ordained minister. I'm also a knight, a third degree knight in the Knights of Columbus. And it just some of the things I just don't agree with that they shun on. They don't like. So
I can imagine. I'm sorry for that, but you are who you are. So
exactly,
that's right.
Greg Costas, when I went to treatment, my belief system was dead. I came up believing in a coffee cup until I had a vision of a friend that didn't make it home with me, and every instance started to tie together. You know, so there you go. Again, it's an experience. You have the experience, and then you believe it. And you know, when I say did it change a belief system, I'm talking about things like cryptids. You know, not necessarily your religion
Or
you know,
anything.
do you
Yeah.
believe in cryptids or something like that? Where 10 years ago you thought, yeah, that's bullshit. You know, that kind of thing.
Beth, check your messenger, please.
Well, I wanted to say that also, I appreciate y'all having me on tonight. I have to go. We're out, and there's things out here. It's starting to pick up with some activity. I'm not paranormal. I'm just talking about wildlife. And there's things out here that can eat you. You know.
I was worrying about that fire behind you. You burned the house down or something.
Oh no, that's a campfire. That's a campfire.
That's a relief.
That's a campfire. I got some tiki torches burning around me. Matter of fact, to keep the mosquitoes off, and then that's a campfire. And then my wife wants to go to the restroom, so I have
I'm
to.
with her for that one. Sorry.
Yeah,
You need to handle that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna laugh. You know, I'm gonna just give her a roll of toilet paper and say, "There it is. Go on out in them woods right there."
Said hi. We all said hi and thank you, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank y'all so very much.
Good night,
What's up, brother?
Y'all have a nice one.
Have a great night. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
You too. Bye bye.
It'd be like the plot.
Is
of a
this
horror
better? Because I
Sorry?
adjusted my
Yeah.
settings.
That's what I was messaging. Yes, it's much
Okay.
better.
Yes, it is. And yeah.
And read the rest of it. It is
I
did. Right? Okie dokie.
Yeah, I put, yep, LOL.
He's just talking about changes of beliefs. I was just thinking one of the things that probably has changed for me the last sort of probably 5-10 years or so is I'm very much of the opinion that ghosts and UFOs, aliens, are all the same thing. The high stranger's otherness. They're not separate. They're I don't think aliens, for example, come from other planets. If they come from anywhere, it's from alternate versions of here. But I do think that they are, again, this idea I was saying before, but they're amorphous. They take on whatever form you have as your beliefs, your interests. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. 2 seconds. Sure. I'm a psychotherapist, and I occasionally deal with people who've had sleep issues and sleep problems. And I did a lot of research into sleep paralysis and hypnagogic dreaming. Now, these are the two psychological processes that lead to what people have described the old hag syndrome, which is this thing where you wake up in the night, you think you're awake and you can't move, and there's something in the room with you.
Chris has had that experience, yes.
I can say to you with pretty high degree of certainty that it is purely a psychological phenomena. It's not necessarily paranormal at all. But what I discovered was that depending on your belief system, you have a different kind of experience. If you are very much a believer in ghosts, supernatural, etc., then you'll have the old hag experience or ghostly figures in your bedroom. If you're into science or even just general science, not even science fiction, just general science, you tend to have a more alien type experience. What you see fits that criteria. If you don't believe any of it, you have a different experience. Because a particular client I had here many years ago, he was an accountant. And whenever he was working on a year-end accounts, he'd get very poor sleep. He didn't sleep. He was very worried, very stressed out. And I always ask people, do you have any problems with sleep? And he said, a couple of times this really weird experience. He said, I woke up one night in the middle of the night and my kids are in the bedroom playing in the bed. And I was going to ask them what they're doing there, but I couldn't move. I was really quite freaked by it. And the next thing I know, it was morning. And I said to my wife, and I asked the kids, why did you come in our bedrooms? We didn't go anywhere, Dad. We didn't go in near you. And the wife said, no, you didn't make any noise. You made no sound. But he was convinced he was wide awake and his kids were in the bedroom. So that was quite strange. But because he didn't believe in ghosts, no UFOs, science, nothing, that was his experience. He believed it was his kids in the bedroom. And another guy who I spoke to, again, as a client, it was actually someone I met through my previous job. We became friends afterwards, and he talked about this when I was doing my research. I got back in contact with him. He was an art student. He was from Glasgow, and he'd moved down to London to do his master's. When he was studying for his bachelor's at Edinburgh University, he was living in a small flat. And he said, when I'm towards the end of a work project that's got to go in, I used to get this really weird experience. There was like a yellow light outside my window and I couldn't move and the light was there, but there's no street lights near me. It wasn't a street light. It was just this bright yellow light. And he said it would be out there. And sometimes it came through the window. It was just like on the window. But he didn't, again, not believe in ghosts or anything like that. He says it's just really weird. It only happens when I'm stressed. When he moved to London, this is when I was working with him, say many years ago, he was doing his master's. And he said, coming towards the end of the project, it was happening again. This yellow light was there, but it wasn't doing anything. It was just in my room. This time it was in the room. So it's just really weird. He said, I know it's just my imagination. It's not real, but I'm definitely seeing this yellow light. So it really got me thinking this is more psychological than it is supernatural. But it depends on your belief system of what you experience. Now, obviously people talk about going off to spaceships with aliens and being probed in various parts of the body and more personal areas of the body. The thing is, when you're in sleep paralysis, as your body comes out of paralysis, the most sensitive parts of your body become you're aware of them first. So that area is very, very sensitive. So that's the first part that comes out of the paralysis. So it can feel like you're being fiddled with. If you're in paralysis, your body will feel incredibly heavy. It'll feel like something is sitting on you. So you get you'll think there's something on me creating this pressure. It's actually your own body weight holding you back. And as you come out of the paralysis, again, you feel you can start to move. But the important thing is with hypnagogic dreaming, you're not asleep. You're not awake, sorry. You're in this sort of middle land between asleep and awake. And you're very, very suggestible at that point. So if you've got anything odd going on with your body, your mind will start to produce ideas and images relating to that feeling. But the thing is to say you're not awake. You think you are, but you're not. You're kind of aware of what's around you. So they all kind of meshes in together. And very often people who have that kind of experience, are usually it's during times of stress or worry or concern, or just from not had a good enough sleep. So you're kind of a bit dozy. And that I found interesting. But the main point is to say it's according to what you believe is what you then experience. So,
right, the belief can lead to the experience. And I love what you're saying. We talk a lot about hypnagogic and hypnopompic, which is when you're coming out of sleep states, because these are like portal areas. It's like a lot of people have their experiences there. And we've
like
learned
abduction, like
from
you said.
talking about abductees and talking to them, and they'll say that. And it's not every experience. It just seems like they're more open to it, right?
Yeah. But see, the other side of this is the fact that you're aware of something. This is the thing that I found most fascinating. There's always a sense of something being with you. Now, whatever that form might be. Now, again, I'm not saying necessarily it's aliens or it's ghosts, but maybe you're having an awareness of other reality around you, if you like.
Yeah, well, you mentioned old hag syndrome, and Kristen was tapping on because I do have a story about that, right?
Oh.
So, yes, I saw the old hag, and I do believe that she might be something beyond what, is just something contrived in our mental faculties, only because I wasn't aware of the syndrome, at least consciously, when I had that experience, right? And that I saw the crone, and I felt like I was suffocating. She didn't necessarily drown me or sit on my chest, but I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I was having a vivid type dream where I was very aware that I was dreaming, and I was scared shitless of this crone figure. It looked like an old hag in a swamp area, just as you would picture a crone. Yeah. And I woke up with a kind of a gasp, like a kind of thing, right?
Like you were suffocating.
I was suffocating. Now it'd be years later, I would read about what old hag syndrome is and find out there's like 1,000 years of documented cases of people seeing the crone. Now that's a little different than standard sleep paralysis, and things like WebMD and some other websites I've noticed kind of give a reason of sleep paralysis, like, well, we know it exists, but we don't know exactly why. It's the chemicals in your body, but you might have this experience and we don't know, and I find that really interesting that they wouldn't know all the answers, and yet I am seeing this archetype, this crone.
Right.
Yeah, but it's that thing that there's something there, whether it's you're seeing your kids, aliens, crone, ghosts, whatever. The universality of that experience was the sense of something being in the room with you. Not necessarily sitting on you, but being close by. That was the thing. Say the guy was seeing pure light. The accountant saw his kids, but the idea that there's something there, it's like we become just a little more aware of the things that may exist around us that are not fully corporeal, but they're there, and this is what I found most fascinating about it.
Definitely, I so agree with you.
We both do.
We need to have an off-air chat because there's a lot of stuff in common.
Yes, we do. A lot.
So we haven't had yet. I see Dr. Michael Lynch out there in the audience.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Miss you.
How you doing? Feel free to join us. So you guys, what do you think about sleep paralysis, those states between waking and sleeping, and paranormal / alien type experiences?
Beth?
Throwing it out to the panel.
Well, it's not as spiritual as Jason, but
I just messaged Beth and I said, Jason needs to behave.
I had to close my eyes.
I already knew, Kristen. I already knew.
I just can't.
That's why you saw immediately.
Oh gosh,
He loves me. I'm sorry.
He does, and you love him, and I'm all about love.
Making me laugh though.
I'm
trying to be serious.
I have actually, because of some things that I was encountering once I went to the next level, and some of the things that had happened to me during childhood, I started doing my own investigation and sleep study. I would film myself sleeping just to see, different scenarios. I started wearing, one of them monitors to know when I moved, the whole nine.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And, I knew when I was having an astral experience. I knew I got it down to where I could tell what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Or whether I was just having a nightmare. It was just the difference of, my blood pressure, how much I moved, all that. So, and I don't, like I said, I'm not a scientist by no means, nor do I have a degree. I'm I'm more on the spiritual, paranormal side of things because of my experiences.
Mhm.
So, but I do believe in, astral. I believe in being woke up by spirit because I've been woke up by spirit. There's nothing like, laying in bed and you're like getting the best sleep of your life. And
Right.
somebody that's, there's no men in your room. They're not supposed to even be in your house. And you're grabbing for your gun. Like, who was that dude that was in my ear? Just saying.
Just Scotty.
Hi, Reggie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe
agree.
astral projection is a very real thing, and I've experienced it. And we both have. And I definitely had a better grasp of it when I was in middle school, if that makes any sense, than I do now.
Yeah.
But
well, and I also believe you're more susceptible to psychic attack and other things while you're asleep.
Most definitely. Not only that, when you're, well, some doctors, scientists say, when you're in childhood before 12 years old, your pineal gland isn't calcified.
Right, the calcification of the pineal gland.
So it makes you more aware and more hypersensitive to spirits, to any, really.
Yeah, belief systems too. They haven't been broken as much, and they're just more open and innocent and willing to allow the vampire through the threshold, if you will.
That's a accurate description of that.
Wow. Okay. It's a psychic vampire or a regular vampire.
Yeah, you got energy vampire. A vampire is a vampire, no matter how you cut it. I'm just saying.
That's right. That's right.
How about you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Beth. I'm sorry.
That's why people, they're like, oh, vampires don't exist. Hey, man, there's more than one kind of vampire, people. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. We definitely agree.
A lot of people suck.
Yeah. And I'm going to leave my other phrase out there for after the show. There you go.
How about you, Matt? What do you think?
Well, first of all, as far as the vampire thing, my favorite is Count Chocula. End of story.
There you go. Amen.
Amen.
But as far as the whole REM sleep, out of body experience, abduction, stuff like this, I always say in the paranormal, anything is possible. Now, let's look at the physical side of when we actually sleep. When we fall to sleep, like actual REM sleep, you're out, you're gone. Mm-hmm. You are literally as close as you can get to death, physically and mentally. You are susceptible to a lot of different things. So you don't have that conscious filter. So I think that there is a possibility that if we do have spirits or whatever coming to us while we are asleep, that will be the time to do it, is when we hit that REM sleep. Our body is more open to that. That's why some people might wake up with scratches, stuff being moved. You wake up suddenly and you feel that. You feel like somebody's watching you. So I feel like that it can go either way. We are just now starting to slowly understand, because our bodies are a big computer, basically. It's a big system. We still don't know everything. Yep. We are still learning.
We've got junk DNA. We have all kinds of things going on in there.
And
we don't know.
We've got another guest to bring on. I'm going to bring him on right now. The surprise guest. It's been a show full of surprises.
Love this.
Hello, Dr. Michael Lynch.
Hello.
Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Hey, everybody. Everybody. I'm getting a little feedback on my...
I hear it a little bit.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. You're there.
Hello, sir.
We sound okay to you. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is it a delay?
Yeah, it's a major delay. I'm getting it twice.
All right. If it gets too bad, just drop and rejoin. I'll bring you back in.
I'll do that.
Close out, Dr. Lynch. Close out your Facebook where you were viewing this.
Oh,
that could cause an echo.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Try that, and if that don't work, then come back in.
We are live and in color. Thank you very much. That was
You're
it.
welcome.
Yes, I've been guilty of that same very thing, more than I care to mention. I got something running the same stream in the background on another tab, and like, oh Jesus, what is that echo?
Hey,
wrong stuff to fix it.
go ahead with your old hag syndrome. I want to hear all about that. Put your feet up on my couch and just tell me everything.
Tell me about your mother. Well, Andy is. You said you're a psychotherapist.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Pardon?
So you're Andy, who's in our chat. Andy Mercer is a psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist. Yeah, he was talking a lot of my circles right there, and I was like, "Yeah, let me join in." You know?
Excellent.
The ritual Max record with me.
The filter of the human brain in biology. The brain is a filter, okay? And Andy's right. Once we pre-program that filter, then we are susceptible. We are susceptible to other things. So in a processes, like if I was in the Amazon and I was an Amazon witch doctor, I would believe in certain things medical doctors in the West would not understand at all. And therefore, my mind is designed for my reality. Everyone here is looking at reality totally different, and we are processing that totally different. I've told you about my friends who have EEGs studies, and they take college students and they just like put in like 40 or 50 EEG helmets on them, and they plug them in, and they all are telling me, we're going to find consciousness, Mike. We're going to find consciousness. And the weird part about it is when those college students are under stimuli, because they have to be in order to get the reading of the EEG, they all process it totally different. It's totally buffered different. So the only conclusion they've come up with so far is that everyone processes our reality totally different. So we are a fragment, one fragment or a cell, let's just say cell, in a body of reality. And everyone, even the psychotherapist with 6 years in college, getting his master's degree, or 8 years getting his PhD, will process his clients differently. And you'll always get this. And I've got this from my friends who are medical doctors. They say, go get a second opinion. If you don't like the way I'm practicing on you, go get a second opinion. And some of the patients don't. They go, oh no, we have total faith in you, because they are seeing that doctor as they want to see them. And they know that doctor is helping them. Okay. And then you have somebody else saying, oh yes, I doubt your word. I doubt your medical practice, psychology, sociology, whatever. And they will go get a second opinion. Okay. Well, the other doctor with the field, within his field, is going to find the same parameters, because that's what we all studied. Okay. We find the same parameters. But when you look at the patient is buffering that information, as well as the pharmaceuticals you just prescribed, or the psychotherapy that you've gone under, differently. And that's why in the medical field, as well as other fields, they call it a practice. Now, I'm not going to knock on the Ghostbuster door, because I was a Ghostbuster for about 30 years. So in ghost hunting and ghost investigations, paranormal investigations, it is a practice on how you approach it. Mm-hmm. And the last time I was on, Greg Koss was on, and I said, Greg, we are searching for ourselves. We are trying to figure out this reality with this thing in our head, with these eyes in our head, with these hearing, these senses. And that's why, I don't know, I'm from the old school. I don't know about Andy. He looks kind of younger than me.
It's an old picture.
But we used to call it like like the sixth sense. Like, there's a sixth sense beyond that is known to man, and that's what we called it. Now it's parapsychology, it's paranormal, it's parasentient, paraclarivoyant.
It's clear. Yeah, because the label's coming again.
Yeah.
Well, you brings up the idea.
They're asinine. I'm just saying.
I hear manifestation within those words, right? So that is a question here for everybody on the panel. Does manifestation play a role in the paranormal? Do you think people can manifest?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me just
everybody agree with that. Yes.
Absolutely. We go through, well, Andy can probably tell you more about this, but we go through a hybrid sense of mantras.
That's right.
Okay. And the mantra focuses this buffer, this brain, this subconscious cacophony of crazy ideas, and the mantra focuses our intention, our target. Okay, it's like, I've lost my car keys. Okay, so my mantra is every morning when I get up, I go, where's my car keys? Where's my car keys? Where's my car keys? So my brain will focus.
Not here.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, I can go to a Native American Indian and I'll say, how do you make it rain? Well, I just go like this and I make it rain. I make it rain. I make it rain. I'm praying to the elementals, focusing my mind. Okay, now, because I'm 1,000 years old. Okay, this is I'm ancient. We know now it's tachyons. Okay, we're in a tachyon field. So what all we're doing is focusing tachyons on a subject. So if you want it to rain, guess what? You go out and do a rain dance. And what happens? You build up your endorphins, your adrenaline. You go into this altered state of consciousness, smoke a little peyote, smoke them if you got them. And you're focusing your tachyons on rain. Now, if I can get 10 or 15 people to do that, okay. Now, I'm not pointing my finger at anybody. Okay. Look at the Baptist. Look at the Catholics. What do you do every Sunday? Well, you have a ritual. You take the Lord's Supper. You sing some songs. Okay. And that's not has anything to do with spirituality. Has nothing to do with spirituality. It's about remembering an event in time that's been passed down to you for almost 2,000 years. A ritual. It's a ritual which focuses your mind on whatever that was. Okay. So let's say
then there's the collective consciousness. You were saying you can get 10, 15 guys to perform Araman or something.
So the Catholic Church prides itself on 10 million people,
right,
praying to Jesus. It's Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. We're going to sell you Jesus like we sell you soap. Okay, and that's their business. That is their business, pure and simple. It's a business to sell Jesus. Okay, now if you really believe Jesus can save your soul, guess what? That's a mantra. And magic happens. The universe comes around and you believe that Jesus can save your soul. When in spirituality over here, God saves everybody. There is infinite mercy, infinite love. There's never been a near-death experience that hasn't come back to say, when I call upon the Creator, it is nothing but love. Even if they go to hell or what they think is hell, even if they go to a dark place, they call on Jesus, they call on the Creator. Help me, help me. And guess what? The Creator comes down and takes them out and says, dusts them off and says, have you learned your lesson? Okay, your soul has been around for 100 billion years, traveling at the speed of light. What have I learned in this lifetime? Fear, poverty, wealth,
hate,
regret, love.
Love.
Yeah, getting back to these experiences, right? So
that's right.
Systems.
I need a cigarette. This is getting.
I need 5.
Sometimes because we had that experience.
I need 5.
I might start drinking, and I don't drink. So,
I
gotta love you.
It's like we sit down, and when I was younger, a lot younger, we would sit down and we smoke our cigarettes and drink our martinis and think we were pretty hot stuff. Well, now we just talk in little German accents like, oh, so you have a problem. Let's talk about this. You know, we pull out that Freud, that Freud accent, And it's like,
Tell me about your mother.
Tell me about your mother.
You have a little problem, do you? Okay. What were you doing during the war? The Afghanistan thing, and people come to, okay, before it was like identity crisis. Where's my destiny? Who am I supposed to marry? What kind of life should I lead? Okay, these are philosophical questions. Now it's all neuroses. It's like, I can't go outside because I'm afraid that a meteorite is going to fall on my head.
Don't look up.
It's all it's neurotic neuroses now. So every little person has an agoraphobe or they're afraid of a certain color or
phobia.
They're all.
See, we were talking about labels earlier. Anne-Marie Young says stupid labels. I got one more person to add. It seems like we lost Chrissy making.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, and she said to say thank you, but she had to go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, yeah, Jason was behind her for a while.
Yeah.
Are you ready yet?
Oh, we love you, brother.
Welcome, Mr. Greg Koss.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, Greg.
Thank God you guys saved me from eating chocolate ice cream.
Oh,
wait, I'll join you for that.
I was gonna say, who's gonna save my ass though?
Right?
It's gonna have a purpose.
Not
No,
Count
and just so you
Dracula.
guys-
That's the only thing we can know.
Just so you guys
See all you people. Doctor.
no
hey,
war.
Greg, how you doing?
It's
Dr.
okay.
Mike.
We're probably going to run a little late. We started late, so
I'm sorry.
if it gets past the hour, you're tired, whatever. Don't worry. If you got to go.
I've just talking to Craig here. I just spent like 2 weeks in the deepest woods you can ever possibly ever go to, and I had some Bigfoot sightings I had to investigate. So that's where I was, and I was like in a information communication desert. I couldn't, everything I got was like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, we were really worried. I told you.
And so this is proof I'm still alive. I'm still alive,
You were worried about.
But it was very fascinating. I got some eyewitness reports on some Bigfoot and saw some tracks, and it was very, very interesting. Every 6 months or so, I get a phone call saying, "Hey, we've got something for you," and so I go down to check it all out. So the rumors of my death have been highly exaggerated. Let me just tell you that.
You and Mark Twain.
My death or disappearance. Okay, but
Well, we're glad you're back.
but a lot of times, like a lot of you will talk about, you go out into these deep woods, you don't know if you're going to come back or not. I mean, it's just you never know. It's like, so my sister made a joke saying, well, if you do disappear, call David Pilates and and we'll go from there,
Go and get you. Yeah. And, obviously because of him, we see there are many missing people, and a lot of times national forests and things that are kind of the root cause of that. Does anybody here in the panel here think that the supernatural events may be a cause for so many missing people?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My vote is portals and extraterrestrials. Portals, Bigfoot, extraterrestrials.
I agree wholeheartely with that statement.
And there could be an alternate dimension slipped in there. Just a little bit of an alternate.
That whole series on what is it?
Alaska
YouTube, about
missing 411.
Missing 411 is just mind-boggling.
It
could
is.
Scare the living hell out of you.
It really does. Yes. I mean, I'm all into the crime shows and stuff, but when you start delving into this and researching and things, it makes you really wonder. It makes you really think, especially being on the paranormal.
You're always looking behind you.
Yeah. Yep. Andy had said that earlier. He had said something about that with the you said multiverse, correct?
Yeah,
Andy?
very much. So I try to avoid the term multiverse now because of the bloody Marvel films, of course.
Right.
Certainly, the idea that there is parallel realities around us that things that exist with us that are actually here with us, but not fully corporeal, that they're kind of energy form. I mean, that's again, to talk about sort of personal experiences, that for me makes more sense than anything else. The whole idea of aliens is that, for example, not coming from distant planets or anything like that, but coming from here, but alternate versions of here. That's what we're experiencing. And he's the same, as Michael was saying about the idea of portals, the idea of things moving through, observing strange phenomena that sort of appear then disappear. I find most fascinating. I mean, for me, the whole Bigfoot thing I find amazing. It's like, surely by now someone's got very good footage of or capture one. If it's just an ordinary living creature living in the woods, how has that not happened? Because there's more to it than that. This idea that they might be transdimensional is a real possibility for me. I think they're probably one of the best examples of that possibility, that there is a good example of a real transdimensional being that we're actually observing. Obviously, we don't tend to get many of Bigfoot over in the UK because it's a small country. There's not that many very remote places to have them. But there are.
We'll send you some. We're going to send you some.
I know. Researcher Steve Maris pointed out, like the UK, because he's from the UK as well, that they have Bigfoot sightings. You know, people seem to have this experience, but the UK itself couldn't really support a Bigfoot as a living, breathing creature
because
not enough wood, not enough food.
It's an island. That's what he said.
There's nothing, we don't have remote enough areas where this sort of thing would be able to survive unsighted. But there are certainly strange phenomena all over the place that fit in that kind of criteria. Let me just tell you a couple of things. I'm working on a book, a long-term project, which is cataloguing a lot of reports of strange phenomena from the Victorian age up to the 1930s. I mentioned earlier, I wrote a book, which is a collection of spells and charms from the UK from that time frame. But they also include some incredibly strange reports. Let me just tell you about a couple quick. I mean, Mike wants to come in there, but just tell you about a couple of them. There was one report that happened in Scotland. It was up near the Shetland Islands, where people observed two young boys in grey, completely grey skin, teleport a cow from a cliff onto a beach and back onto the cliff again. These two young boys. Yeah, they had grey skin and they transported this cow backwards and forwards. Another occasion, the fishermen were out for a long-term fishing expedition. This creature landed on the top mast. It was about 4 or 5 feet tall. They said it had red eyes, stood there for 4 days looking at them, didn't move, just looked at them for the entire time. They carried on fishing because it was a lovely, absolutely terrified. And then the thing shot straight up vertical in the air after 4 days. What is that?
I guess they weren't edible, huh?
No. But those kind of strange phenomena, I mean, I'm cataloguing a lot of them. They say it's first-hand reports of people, not just sort of hearsay stories, actual written reports that these Victorian folklorists recorded from the individuals. And I mean, that's that kind of just bizarre phenomenon. It doesn't fit in any category. The teleporting cow is the one I love the most so far. Just totally bizarre.
It is bizarre. We actually researched that with Linda Moulton Howell, and we watch her, not with her, but we look into that, and there's a lot more than just her. I mean, and that's a thing. And who's doing it? Do you really think it's a satanic ritual or somebody? No, it's not. I mean, they have cows that are just dropped and just like they're totally like a bag of, just mush.
Their bones are just broken everywhere.
And
like it was obvious that they were dropped from something. So like, how does that happen? And I totally agree with you. And I think a lot of the alien phenomena is not really alien to us. It's just in another close dimension, and it's not really coming from planet X.
Andy has a lot of stuff in his country, because I know I've been there, and they have got some of the best crop circles I've ever seen. And in 92, now, if you want to talk about strange, I was there in 92, and I'm getting ready to go back, but I'll tell you, they had the most exotic crop circles all over the place. I mean, we were around Avesbury, we went around Stonehenge, we went north, we stood in them. They're just phenomenal. I did a couple of brief paranormal news reports on them. But I'll tell you what they have does not compare to any iota what is in America. What's in America is like nothing. I mean, nothing. But what they've got is intelligent design and communication. It may not be with us. We have no way to respond. We have no way to communicate with this pictorial alphabet. But it is It is fascinating. It is just incredibly fascinating. Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. Absolutely no. I've seen some of those firsthand. Well, I mean, there is a lot of crop circles are definitely made by people, but some of them are just so incredibly intricate. You think, how could that have been done overnight? So it's really strange. And I've studying a few in the past. You do often get this video being pulled around in circles, like literally this, like a magnet's pulling you over. But one thing I was going to say, a lot of someone mentioned in the chat room about the Fae. I mean, we see fairies today, kind of Disney-fied fairies, but the Fae are quite different. They're quite sinister and scary. I mean, this is the other thing that's interesting. Most of the reports of Victorian times are from underground, these things emerging from the ground, from hills and that sort of thing. Whereas today we talk about UFOs and spaceships. It's like they've now come from different places. Again, I think it's this idea of coming from different realities, if you like, and how they manifest, again, fits in with our belief system of the time. So Victorian and early would see sort of hills and things emerging from the ground. Now we see quotation mark spaceships instead. So I think it fits in that notion of what it is our belief system is of the time.
Yesteryear's Fae is like today's alien.
Exactly.
You have to think about, I'm sorry, 1 second, Beth. You have to think about back in 47, all the spaceships were saucers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we go up a little bit further in life, and now they're cigar shaped, and everybody believes
Triangles.
that. So it goes with that, right? And then there's triangles, and then So you're right about the belief system.
That's right. One of the first documented stories by the colonists, when it was Mass Bay colonies where we live now, talks about these gentlemen. The governor at the time of the Mass Bay colonies, his name escapes me, wrote this, that these gentlemen on a boat were going down, I think it's called the Muddy River, but it was an offshoot of the Charles River, a big river. And they all saw a flaming pig in the sky, and that's how they described it.
Yeah.
They experienced time loss. They wound up the river several miles from when this event started happening.
I know
And
that.
when it was over, they found themselves like way up, which shouldn't have made no sense because they were all checking out this flaming pig. But that's how they described it.
That's the 1600s.
A flaming pig, because they knew what pigs were. And they just saw the shape and the sky and the lights. And, that's what a UFO was to them.
Right. So you're right, Andy, with the times, the way it goes.
Yeah.
Right, Beth?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And it also goes back to what I was going to say earlier, and I completely lost my train of thought. I don't know how I did that. It's because I'm old.
No.
And it was to touch on something about the power of suggestion as well.
Right.
And that's one of the things I'm very careful of when I do residentials, because these people all live together, and mom is saying, yeah, it was this, and yeah, that's what I saw too. I mean, the power of suggestion is also a crippling thing in a way.
Right.
Right.
It develops phobias. Now, on one of my next shows with Bigfoot and the Bunny, I'm going to talk about personal prisons, how we imprison ourselves by our phobias and our beliefs. And there's an old saying a friend of mine used to say, you say, living in denial is not just a river in Egypt. You can deny a lot of things, but gravity still works. Now, Michael Schumer, the editor of Skeptic magazine and one of the biggest skeptics on the planet, when Amazing Randy died, so he knows what's on the other side. But Michael Schumer and I debated one time, and I said, well, Mike, I said, you must not believe in gravity, because I can't put it in your hand, and you don't have to believe in it, and it still works. Well, he got highly insulted with me. And I said, well, it's a fact, Mike. If I can't put it in your hand, you're going to deny it or say it's you're skeptical. I'm skeptical. It's like your own television show. Well, anyone can do that. You have to put up the evidence to tell me why my science is flawed or does not work. A skeptic has to be the opposing, not the opposing position. He has to produce evidence that I am wrong. Okay. So if I say ghosts exist, Michael Schumer would have to develop a schematic or a train of thought or something other than a theory just to prove that ghosts don't exist.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The other good one is the idea of falling in love. Scientifically prove falling in love. Statistical analysis of falling in love.
Okay, yeah, like right. Okay, magic doesn't work. Okay, there's no such thing as magic. And then everyone says, well, falling in love is magic. You know, painting, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci and Rembrandt, that painting is magic. It's magic.
They,
the Dutch masters, the Dutch masters made
muses. So what's a muse? Okay.
Pardon?
Muse.
Pardon? A muse?
Yeah, because that's
well, it's inspiration. It's
great,
the Greek, it's the 7 daughters of the Pleiades. They are the inspiration. They're music, light, love, entertainment, joy. We get theater from the muses. We get
but they also
inspiration.
I was thinking more along the lines of Muse and Squirrel.
Oh, yes. Boris Badinov. Let's get Muse and Squirrel.
That's right.
Yes. My mom and I were talking about Boris Badinov. And what is her name? It is
Natasha Fatale.
Natasha Fatale. That's right.
Natasha Fatale, yeah.
Sorry, we squirreled, and that's actually my name is the haunted.
It was the height of the Cold War, folks. Come on. That was my heyday.
Yeah, we understand. But the muses is a thing as well, because like you said, it's not just in Greek lore, it's way back in thousands of years.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Spirit.
The whole idea, Athena told Ulysses, I give you the information, I give you that inspiration to build that horse at Troy. Mm-hmm. Athena said, we inspire you. We're the gods. We inspire you, give you ideas and concepts. And then you act upon them. Okay. Well, you come to find out that if it was not for mankind, they couldn't do anything because it was us. We did all the grunt work. We did the grunt labor, and they just give us inspiration, so we always got the raw end of the deal.
The nature of inspiration is sort of supernatural in a way now, isn't it?
Exactly.
We talk about, and like I was a musician in a former life, but no, technically this life, right? And I used to play a lot. I don't really play so much, but sometimes I'd be in this moment playing with other people, just really into it, and just something just comes from somewhere else, and you go, where did that come from? I would have never thought of that, but it played it.
Mozart played for hours. Mozart played for hours, and he had no music. He just played what was in his head. He says it just comes in, and I just translate it. Okay, so Mozart said it's not coming from me. Picasso said the same thing. I'm in the zone. I don't know where it comes from. I just start painting.
Yes.
Channeling.
That's the thing. Well, we channel when we do the Estes method, right, Greg?
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, we do a show where we join Greg's show, Metaphysical Crossings, a lot, and you can find that at Shadow Hunters Paranormal on Facebook, and he does that every Wednesday.
Well, we're down right now.
Oh, that's right. Yes, but still,
so we're down for probably hopefully a week, if not 2.
Lots of ITC,
which I can't handle.
I know, right? What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Going out of my mind.
I'm going to have to go outside and play in the yard with the.
You have to go out on the lake. You have to go fishing.
Oh, that's right, with the boat.
Yeah, you still can fish, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's frozen yet.
We don't have ice yet. We don't have ice yet, so.
And Matt, I think we've overwhelmed you with a lot of stuff. We've gone in a lot of different directions. Your thoughts?
Oh, okay.
We want to bring Matt into it.
Yes, please.
Matt is our guest.
Oh no, I'm just sitting back and enjoying this conversation because we said before about the whole para-unity. See, here's the thing. I've said this once, and I know Chrissy said it last night, and Beth you said it too on Listen Queens. The thing is we. It's a paranormal field. We are all pieces of one big jigsaw puzzle, and it's going to take each and every one of us to make that puzzle complete. So whether it's the scientific side, the metaphysical side, whatever. So in my thought is everyone's point is valid until you validate it or you do your research or you can debunk it, because isn't that what we're out to do? We're out to prove and disprove. And it's not in a negative way. It's in a way to say that's not working. Let's try this. The paranormal field is not an exact science. So whatever anybody's theories are can be correct. I can sit here, like, Dr. Michael said, I can sit here and tell you that every ghost is purple. Can you prove me right? No. Can you prove me wrong? No.
No.
It's not
Yeah,
scientifically.
It doesn't mean you didn't have the experience, though, right?
It's the full spectrum scenario. But I just want to say this. I agree. Thomas Edison, it took him like 1,000 different ways to make a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then when he found the process, he goes, they said, well, how long did it take you? He says, well, not how long. It's that I now know how not to make a light, 1,000 different ways on how not to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Some science is trial and error. I agree. But that doesn't mean we don't look like I've got people who say, well, I'm a biologist. I don't look at the physics side. Or I'm a rocket scientist. I don't look at the metaphysical side. Well, then you're just cutting off. It's like cutting off part of your brain. You're not seeing the entire picture. And we had this discussion about Travis Taylor. He's a rocket science and astrophysicist. That is that much. That is that much of the spectrum. Okay. We need to be out here. We need to get people who have all the, talk show experience, investigative experience. We need to get the whole gambit. Okay.
Well, you now know he is like the face of
MUFON.
Nope. He took the new face of Lou Elizondo's out, and Travis is in.
Travis, and now he's kind of face of ufology from possibly the government perspective, although they're supposed to be outside the government.
And what did we say at the beginning? Government. Here we go.
I'm not getting into that.
Okay. I just want to know. I just want to know one thing. Maybe I just want to know one thing. Maybe you guys can tell me. Say, does Travis Taylor have the UFO liaison, the extraterrestrial liaison from the UN, on his speed dial? Okay,
probably, and whoever is above them.
Well, I know who's above them, and I can tell you he doesn't have them on the speed dial. Okay, I can tell you for a fact. But I'm just gonna. I have to step back a second because I said something.
You feel? I'm sorry. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like,
It's like, okay, I said that Chris Mullen was on national TV and he lied to us, and I still say that, but I think he lied to us for a different reason. I think someone off-world told him not to say anything, just out of politeness.
Is that why he put up a balloon and stuff? The number
Before
one
Congress.
balloon for before
Before Congress, they used the worst
possible
video.
evidence.
At least in our
say.
opinion, right? We thought it was like,
you
bring
got
things to Congress, and it was all debunkable films. It wasn't like the best stuff they have. Like, why would the government bother going through this?
We have such a big thing.
And
with
then there's ATIP, right? Which Lou Elizondo was
it's not even
supposed to be part of.
It's 7 different acronyms for it.
7 different names or different acronyms.
You got us going, Beth. Here we go.
Really?
And I hate to bail on y'all, but I have an emergency phone call, so I am going to have to go.
Hey,
thank you so much. I hope we can all do this again. I value everyone, that has been on here tonight, because we were learning from each other and inspiring each other.
Oh, absolutely. Amen.
You're awesome, Beth.
I hope all y'all have a good night, and I hope to see all of you again soon.
Much love, Martha.
Bye-bye.
Love.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
But getting back to organizations, I don't think. Well, I'm just going to say, I think the UN is ready. I don't think individual countries are ready. And I don't think America as a whole is totally accepting what's going on. Now, like I said, there's people out there who I'm aware of, and I would rather have them as a representative than the people that are there. And I say that about, Congress and the Senate as well. And Andy, I'm sorry about the Queen. She died. My condolences for that. And
no, thanks. Not at all here. I am a Republican. I'm one of those rare breeds in the country. I'm a Republican. I want to get rid of the monarchy completely. So I was like,
over there because I'm not.
There's about 20% of us feel this way about our country, and the numbers are now growing because old Queenie did have a lot of hearts, but Charlie, he's not quite as popular, shall we say. And I'm a member of the Republic. It's a non-party organisation that wants basically the Britain to become a republic, and our numbers are growing. So
Okay, so that's kind of like
We
an
don't know. That's
independent
good.
here in the States.
Say that again?
Is that kind of like an independent, which we would be independent, like in the States here?
Well, yeah, the idea is just to remove the monarchy, would just have a figurehead, like a president figurehead, but the real
president.
power remains with the prime minister and parliament. So
Right.
you would have a nominal, anyone could stand to be president, but it would have no power. It'd just be like a replacement figurehead, but real power,
Like
of course,
you would
remains with the
vote.
parliament. Say again?
Basically, you can vote.
It would be like the idea that we've got is anybody could stand for it. You could have a vote for the president, but as I say, that it'd be a figurehead position, only no power. So anyone could stand for it. You could have a pop star, whatever they wanted to.
I get it.
And that's
Okay.
all. But the power remains solely and completely within Parliament and the Prime Minister, which it more or less is anyway. But there's always this unwritten, well, we have an unwritten constitution, but the monarch has the power to dissolve Parliament at will. But they won't do it, but they do have the power. And that
I
is
had no
what we
idea
have
about
to
that
do.
one.
Absolutely. We are
Ooh.
not citizens of the United Kingdom. We're subjects of the crown. All this kind of very antiquated medieval language, which people like myself would like to get rid of completely. I mean, we got rid of the lot. We got rid of them in the 1600s and brought them back again.
Yeah, right.
How idiotic was that? But as I say, we're about 20, I mean, from both sides. I mean, I'm
I feel like
Labour.
history repeats itself or something like
Yeah,
that.
well, hopefully, and this time we'll keep them gone. But we got, it's not a left versus right thing. There are people who are more right wing and more left wing who hold this view that it's time that we get rid of our monarchy, and certainly the fact that the Queen is gone and now King Charles has replaced him. There is a movement that is growing in our country about the end of the monarchy. So yeah,
Interesting.
Right.
It does seem a little superficial, at least as from an outsider perspective.
Yeah,
but I
it's
mean, there's so
archaic
much
and meaningless.
It's fascinating that it still exists.
Now, Andy, not to get away from your research there, but being Irish, we have the the little green.
Oh, he froze.
Oh,
Goodness
Just
gracious.
on the little green part.
They
too.
found him.
They found him.
Yeah, they got me. They got me.
Yeah.
I told you they were coming for me.
Gunned them down.
Right in the middle, a little green, and he froze. Uh-oh.
Bullseye,
little
no
green.
bullseye or anything.
They're going to beam me up. They're going to beam me. But anyway, so we have legends in Ireland that date back to the beginning of time, and a lot to do with leprechauns. And they would always say that they would leave us gold, and if they didn't like you, it would turn to dross. So there's a whole mystic of the fae, of the leprechauns, of witches. The banshee, the banshees and things like that. Even Scotland has a few really old turn of the world type things. And I think a lot of it came in with the Celts when the Celts invaded, or the Saxons, and they came in and they brought in with them their own superstitions.
Oh, very much so, very much so.
And it kind of integrated. So there's a pantheon of paranormal situations. But yeah, Andy, you could write encyclopedias on that stuff over in your country,
There's quite a bit of material to work with, that's for certain.
I've been reading a lot about Isabel Gowdy, who is this witch, and her confessions back in 1662. And with those, which were extremely detailed, including things like having sex with the devil.
Yep.
Just wonderful stuff. There's the fae, right? And so at that time, you had kind of like two different divisions, if you will, in day-to-day life. You had the common folk who absolutely accepted things like witchcraft and working with the fae and natural magic as a day-to-day existence. And then you had the government and the church saying, let's get rid of the devil and let's get rid of this witchcraft. The two things were current.
Kind of like what they do today.
Hundreds of thousands of people.
Mostly. But
right?
Yeah.
But all the commoners kind of just accepted the fae. They accepted that there was magic in the world, and it was kind of how they got through their difficult days. And on that note of witchery, we have another guest. Welcome, Anne-Marie Young.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This show is awesome tonight. It is every night, but it's really good tonight.
awesome tonight. Yes, thank you.
We do our best. I mean,
you never know what to expect on Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Great to see you, Anne Marie.
Great to see you too, Greg.
But over on this side of the pond, it was just the American Indians, which I have some in my background. But it was the American Indian was the Red Devil. You don't have sex with them. Don't breed with them. Shoot them if you can. Take their land. It's a must. They've got wealth that we don't have. I think between religion, I mean, we had our own Salem witch trials in Massachusetts.
Salem, Massachusetts, yeah.
So we were trying to keep up with the British as much as possible, but just didn't work out. We always had an enemy. It was a little red devil called the Indians. And so, but a lot of that folklore, a lot of the Indian folklore, First Nations, is getting lost. It's getting drift to time. And they talk a lot about stuff we find now in Revelations, in the Christian Bible. So there is a overlap. All civilizations have a common overlap. And it is just amazing. It's just amazing how it kind of spreads around the world. But witchcraft, here's
sorcery.
Yes, sorcery, witchcraft, warlocks, witches, dealing with the devil or casting spells, voodoo. A lot of it comes in a form of a religion that's been twisted and then turned into, again, mantras, and again, conditions our minds to think a certain way. And I've spent years, reading textbooks and religious dogma to where I'm just like, nauseous. But at the same time, it's a way of programming the mind. It is a program. It's the same if I sit you down and hypnotize you and told you don't smoke, don't overeat. You know what I'm saying? It's the same program. It just goes over generations and generations and generations. It's like, Andy, it's like, who said that you needed a monarchy? Why do people even think about a monarchy? In America, we never had one. We just set up a cockeyed government and ran for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. So it seems like a little bit odd to us, I think, as Americans looking across the pond and seeing, wow, they get this king, this queen. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
The queen is dead. And of course, she's been queen for so long.
It's the definition of pomp and circumstance, which we don't really have in America. And a lot of times I say, wow, they just do that so well. That is like a whole industry,
It's very true. We do that rather well, but yeah.
You do that very well. I must admit. You shined that apple really well. But in America, it's like, oh, we swear in our president. And what happened? Well, nothing really happened. And we just swore him in and he goes right to work, So I kind of miss some of that luxury that they have. But at the same time, understand it is a program that is a necessity. It's a necessity theoretically for their society. And that, again, I logically, I cannot accept it. I cannot fathom it, but sincerely, down heart deep, yeah, I like it. I like the British Guard, and I like the yes sir, no
British,
sir.
So it's Swedish. Did you know that?
It's a spinoff. Yeah. Well, at one time, Andy may back me up, but at one time they were all cousins. They all married each other.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Very much closely related to the entire Western Europe and Russia. I mean, they're all related to each other.
Alabama,
right? Yeah. No, but that started from the beginning of time. I mean, they didn't want to give away their secrets, so they interbred, and here we are.
If it wasn't for the Domenici family, Italy would still have a king. I mean, if it wasn't for the fall of Rome, and the Domenici family who killed off, like they would marry into a royal family, and then that person just died mysteriously, but it kept the money in the family, so the Domenicis grew really quick. But at one time before World War I, they were all intermarried. They were all cousins. Like Andy said, Russia, Austria, the Holy Roman Empire, they were all marrying their daughters and cousins off to keep peace. Mm-hmm. which was
It's always been a
And
1%, right?
Oh,
Right,
this
Michael,
is,
and to
I started
Scott,
this. Yeah.
There's always been a 1%. I mean, going back to the Anunnaki, if you believe in
Exactly.
the Anunnaki, they were creating humans to be, the 99% worker bee.
That's
and
right.
1%
It's
control.
always been a 1%. Yep.
We have been the drones for a extraterrestrial society since time immemorial. Okay, they bred us for this adventure to work like this. Okay, now there's a picture. I don't know if Andy can do this, but there's a picture of Queen Elizabeth, and she is holding the scepter, the royal scepter.
Yes.
And then in one hand, she holds the royal orb. Okay.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
Orbs.
There's no explanation. I understand the scepter. That's the magic wand. That's the wand of power. But the orb dates back to a long lost society. You see, the Anunnaki used a pine cone to show the pineal gland, saying that this is the secret to your success. And they have engravings of it. And it's the tree of life. The tree of life is only in the Jewish Talmud, Torah and Talmud.
Sorry.
It is the same as the Anunnaki's tree that shows the DNA. The Anunnaki knew everything about us, even more. And then they just twisted it. I love how they did that. And they just kept us down. They kept their foot on our back. And name me one monarchy that hasn't, one kingdom that hasn't done that. They used to call him King, what was it? King Edward, the Longshanks? King Edward, I think it was King Edward.
I'm not sure. My history's not quite that good.
Okay. Anyway, he was the Longshanks, and he always was drawn with two gigantic swords on his back, and he would kill anyone he didn't like because he was the king. So if he didn't like you, he'd just walk over and kill you.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah, it's good to be king. William Wallace fought him and said, if we don't kill him,
yes, it's Edward.
He will kill everyone because he's the king.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that authority over life and death. And that's how we were set up. That's what we were forced to believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the idea that kings and queens have divine power directly from God, and that still manifests even today. That idea is present within that. Again, another thing I'm rather objective to.
And we know before they were Winchesters, they were called something else, but they locked their cousins up into a room and boarded it up until they starved to death.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of that.
There's an awful lot of that sort of thing that is now sort of hidden away, and it's tell nice stories of the past and forget about the barbarism, the evil, the violence, the let's keep power no matter what, let's cut their heads off for saying the wrong things, and all that. Yes, absolutely.
We talked about the Salem witch trials a little earlier, and that was a handful of people. But when you look at the burning times, as they're called, they killed hundreds of thousands, mostly women, taken out. Mostly, they think women not willing to voice their opinion, boisterous, if you will.
Quakers.
Something that was going against the mainstream.
They wanted to express.
They were widows, elderly widows who took spices and herbs, and they were midwives, and they took these spices and herbs and they put them in wine or they put them in vinegar. And this was treatment. This was treatment. Okay. The Catholic Church did the same thing, but because they were women and the Catholic Church was a fraternity of men, they said these women are a threat to our authority. So guess what? They're witches.
Of course.
Yeah. Look at the Pope's blood. They keep the Pope's blood.
Yeah, that's a big thing with us.
That's
why
pure
do they keep the Pope's
right
blood? Yeah. Anyone?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Pope's blood.
The Pope's blood.
The Vatican keeps the Pope, the blood of every Pope.
Why?
And it's kept in a very unusual vessel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they don't embalm the Pope's bodies when they die.
Yeah, but why do they keep the blood?
They drain the blood out and they put it into a vessel and they put it on a shelf, and it goes back about 800 years. Now that blood is petrified, but at the same time they keep it because of the holy shrine the holy sepulchre, the holy shrine of the blood, and it's called the blood of the Lamb, the blood of a virgin, the blood of Jesus. You see what I'm saying? It goes on and on.
Perhaps they come to possibly bring back a pope. Have their DNA to grow up.
Pope.
Yeah, but they had no process for DNA until the early 50s. They didn't know what different blood types there were.
But eventually we would have this technology, right? And will.
Yeah,
So
we will.
I'm going to have to interrupt, chaps. It's nearly 3:30 in the morning here.
We're really sorry.
You look great, Andy.
That's normal kind of time.
Good night, Andy.
3 o'clock. Yeah, I'm usually up that kind of time.
We're gonna message you, please.
Yes.
And, we'll let you know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to that old hag.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Become a guest at some point, definitely.
Dan's been wanting to come on for a little while, for like about an hour now, to ask you about the old hag syndrome. I'm going to tell you.
All right.
We'll do a show about it or something. That'd be quite an idea.
Yes, we'd love to have you on, Andy. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again in the future soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Later, Andy. Yeah, it's been. Hopefully I'll try and join in again another time. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Excellent. Yes, the Pope's blood. Very, very interesting. Marie, you were asking about the old hag syndrome. What did you want to know? You can put it up to us as well.
I loved listening to what he was talking about, because I had that happen to me too. I was in the hospital, stressed, in a DKA, and I'd just come out of a near-death experience, and I had all kinds of really weird stuff happen. So,
so you're definitely in that kind of hypnagogic state between wake and sleep and that sort of thing. And did you feel like that might have been a window to the supernatural?
Yes. Yeah. I felt everything that happened to me that night. I thought it was just a weird dream. But then afterwards, I kept getting signs of stuff that I had happened to me. Synchronicities just kept lining up. Mm-hmm. And there was no way what happened to me was not real. But it scared me at the time, but then my guides kept telling me, keep looking into this, and like now, because of like your show, I see I'm not crazy, and there are other people that have the same shit has happened to them that happened to me, and it's like every show, it's like, oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. And years ago, I couldn't say anything to anybody because I didn't know there were other people like me. That's why I said earlier, me and Kristen have known each other since what, 6th grade?
Before that, that.
And like we never talked about this stuff. I would have loved to have somebody to talk to. Like, oh, that happened to you too. You see the shadow man? Me too.
Lord only knows where you would be today if that was the case, though.
Yes.
Yep.
And those times we didn't have TV shows and stuff that showed paranormal occurrences or interview people.
I never watched.
Anytime I tried to bring up, anytime I tried to bring up any kind of experience, my family was like,
same thing. Right. That's our family. Yeah.
Put it away, kind of.
It's everybody's family. For the better.
She's the weird one. She's the weird one.
I don't want to talk to her right
Don't
now.
tell the neighbor.
Yeah. Well, apparently her and I have been since we were kids.
Does she float?
Does she float? We levitate. Sorry.
Love Monty Python.
I want to watch that.
I was a newt. She turned me into a newt, but I got better.
Actually, that's what my wife calls me, Newt. That's yep. That's cute. Actually, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me show you something.
I have to come down to my hole down here.
Your hole in the Newt.
Go to your hole.
I have to go to the garage. I'm in the garage.
I wish I was in the garage.
So
let
me give you,
Greg.
Let me give you kind of my point on this, and it is the saddest point that I can explain. I can't explain it too many different ways, but okay. So there are people who die, and they think in their mind that they cannot accept the love of God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so if you're having a near-death experience or in the close near-death, they hate that because you are going to go, your angels are there, or your loved ones, and they are going to go, you're going to go to God, to the Creator. Okay. And you're going to be with angels. They hate themselves so much, they don't want anyone else to go. Okay. So they try to prevent you from going into heaven or the afterlife.
From crossing over.
And, or when you come back, they want to hang on to that energy that you have experienced in that near-death experience. Okay.
I kept hearing it's not your time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, right. It's not your time, but it's not, but they hate themselves so much. They cannot bring themselves to forgive themselves. It's a state of perpetual hate and regret, personal. And they cannot accept the love of God.
They can't receive the message.
That's right. They can't, it's not the message. It's that
they hate,
it's themselves. It's themselves. Okay. Whether they have doubt or they have anxiety or whatever, they cannot love themselves. And therefore they feel psychologically, they cannot be loved by the Creator.
That's why we talk about the difference between ghosts and spirits.
That's
exactly. I was just going to say,
ghosts are earthbound. Spirits have already crossed.
Right.
And they have the capability of going back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. And that's more like your relatives and that sort of thing.
So
not only that, when you go into a residential, we've been into residentials and we've tried to help them. And what we feel and what happens is they built the house. The person who passed away does not want to leave because they built the house and they want to stay with the family.
That's right. Manifest destiny. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes they want to watch over their property or their family or something, or some other reason why they're earthbound and can't let go and cross.
And they don't want to. Or sometimes they're, like you were saying, they're ashamed.
Now, Matt does a lot of house blessings.
Yes.
Right. Interested in your thoughts on that, on earthbound spirits and why people, might stay earthbound post-mortem. What do you think, Matt? When you're doing the blessing, are you helping them?
So if Andy was here, he could probably back me up on this. But right now, we all have what we call an aura. But that is the energy that's our life energy. That's our life energy. And a lot of that is love. Okay. You brought up purple ghost. Okay. Purple and pink, violet is the energy of love. Okay.
That's right. And
so when you get your aura picture taken, you want to have it kind of pink. You want it kind of purple, high frequency colors. You don't want yellow. You don't want yellow. Yellow just is sickness. But when you come back into your body from near-death experience, no matter how micro small it has happened, okay. In sleep study reports, a lot of people will die or come close to death about 10 times in an average 8-hour sleep. Okay.
Matt had said that earlier with the REM sleep.
Yeah, with REM. Right. And if you are that close to death, you radiate love. You radiate this energy of love. Now, the other side of the coin is not only is it mercy, it's also forgiveness. You've forgiven yourself. You forgive yourself so you can accept the never-ending love. So incubus, succubus scenario, old hag syndrome, is wanting that energy. They want that. Now they can go to the light anytime. They can ask for angels to help them. They can ask for relatives. They can go anytime. But because of their loop, their inability to accept that kind of love, but to stay energized with that energy, they just become black, dark hate. Their energy is black and dark. And we all have that ability to be the bad guy. And we all have the ability to be the good guy. It's a choice. It's the decision. But when we decide to be the bad guy, all bad guys wear black. Because we are
kind of like what Carl Jung, called the shadow self, right?
Yeah, the shadow self, the caw.
All those things.
The caw.
That makes so much sense.
You see?
It's like I got the chills.
Okay.
What was going on in my life at the time, and everything you're saying, it's definite.
That's
I
right.
agree.
Now, some people, once they get into the dark, they can't go to the light because they don't feel they're worthy. They can't forgive themselves. They can't accept love. Okay. Mr. Nathaniel Gillis, we talk a lot about incubus and succubus. And we talk about, and I told him, I said, Nathaniel, we all have that desire to suck in energy. We, energy vampires, that's just an example. To suck in, you know how people come up to a newborn baby and they just hold that newborn baby and they go, oh, that newborn baby is just so beautiful. Well, it's because it's full of energy. It just exudes life.
What if you don't want to hold a
new life
baby?
as well? You can feel a new life.
What if you don't want to hold it?
Well, that's okay. That's okay too. But you'll see these people, and because that's in their mind, in the way they've been programmed, that is life. That's living energy. That's living. They don't look at themselves that way. I'm older. I've got a career. Blah blah blah. But they don't see that they themselves are the same as that newborn baby.
I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier. I was asking Matt about house blessings and how that worked into this and people crossing over and that stuff. Matt, could you do a lot of house blessings? Can you tell us what you think is going on when you're doing that?
Okay. Well, no, you described it perfectly.
Michael?
Matt.
It's a Matt. I'm sorry.
Matt.
Matt does the blessings. Sorry.
I feel like it's a mixture of different things. Like obviously residuals, not really much we can do about it. But intelligent haunts, I think it depends on the spirit. Sometimes, again, go back to the trigger objects, the location, stuff like that. But I'd say a good amount of the time, what it ends up being is somebody or something there that either wants some answers, wants closure, they have a message. I like to call it the Casper theory or syndrome. They have unfinished business. That's the best way I've told my clients to relate to it. That there's something going on. There's something in that house that is causing this activity. And it's our job to come in and figure out what it is. Now, whether it's a person, they may be attached to it, like maybe they have a message. They have something that they want to say. They want something to happen. We have to translate that. Maybe it's something in the house itself, a trigger object, or again, the land. Maybe, maybe there's just something there's something there that they cannot get over to let them have their peace. They get to that love state like, Michael was talking about. So that's usually what happens. And usually with the blessings that I do, it's not one of those, the power of Christ compels you to start, throwing holy water everywhere. It's more or less prayers of forgiveness for the spirits, prayers of protection for the family, a prayer for cleansing to start fresh, a prayer of fresh renewal. And I'm not talking just Christian. It's just, there's no certain thing. It's situation dependent. It's what I say. I make it very personable. I turn off all recorders, all recording devices, and it's just me and the spirits. And we just have this chat. And I ask the higher power, if you will, to come and help me do this. Help me help this spirit. Because obviously here on the physical realm, not really much we can do. So it's more or less just asking, hey, can you come help me? And to kind of circle back to that newt thing, that she turned me into a newt.
Yeah, where's your wife?
Let me get my reading glasses for this.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I wear this with pride.
I got
let us know where you got that.
Amazon, actually. But the whole premise behind that, I told you earlier, my wife and I met in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Well, the way I investigated with my team, it was a little bit different. I figured my teams were investigators, let them investigate. Me as a founder, I kind of help them out. I'm more like an extra hands for them. Well, the one night we were in the night we met, we were in the cemetery, and I'm just sitting down and talking to one of the spirits. And I hear this group come behind me. My wife was in this group. And they were all talking about different things, and they started talking about religion. Well, they asked my wife, her name's Mackenzie. Mackenzie, what are you? One of my buddies goes, she's a witch. And the other buddy, my other investigator, picked up on what was going on and goes, well, how do you know she's a witch? My dumbass popped up from behind this headstone and goes, she turned me into a newt. And we went through the whole little skit. And as soon as I said I got better, I just slowly started going down. Back down. Yeah.
Wow.
So now she calls me Newt.
We're eventually able to win her over. And
what a pickup line. That is the best pickup line I've ever heard, especially in a cemetery.
And I can't even, if I hear my name, I think I screwed up or something's wrong. But no, she calls me Newt.
It's like the best love story ever.
That's
she actually did hate me. Like, she'll tell you flat out. She absolutely hated me.
What happened? So you ended up going
humor was pretty good.
out for,
No, my humor is what she hated.
Oh,
she hates my energy. She's more, laid back, an introvert. I'm the complete opposite. It was actually a mutual friend of ours that we didn't know was mutual. And once we realized that this person was, he started saying, no, you just give him an opportunity. And the relationship she was in was really toxic. So as we started talking more and more and more, I told her, I said, listen, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but you're hurting yourself mentally and physically. I said, you're losing you with this guy. I said, don't just go with me, but I'm just saying you got to get out of that. And she ended up doing that, and then she fed me, and she literally did, that's literally what happened. She fed me, asked me to come over, and I was like, "Ooh, this is really good. This is good food." And I
just had some food out for you, and then there you are.
Fat kid, you give me a food, I'm all set. But
dog book and candle.
Oh,
the best way to man's heart is through his stomach. That's the idea. Now, getting back to one thing, I work really well with the psychic. Almost all my career is paranormal investigation. And we went out to a house, a quick story here. We went out to a house, and this woman said, my house is haunted and things like that. And she had a small herd of horses in a corral behind the house. And we were out just looking around, and I said, well, where's your horses? And she says, well, they're not here. They never want to come to the house. They never want to come up close because the fence was really close to the back of the house. They never want to come up here. I've got to go out and chase them down. And so we go in and we do a little investigation. My friend, she's a psychic, and she goes, okay. I said, Vicky, we need to shut this place down. And we found there's credible signs of a portal here coming up, and there's a lot of entities, and they're not paying any rent, so we need to shut this thing down. Anyway, so she starts it up, and she cleanses the house.
Thank you.
And she has a method. I'm not really sure what the method is, but we all get quiet because I can really kind of feel that energy when it shifts. And so I'm sitting there on the couch, and then this guy that was there, who was a total skeptic, he goes, what are you guys going to do? And I said, we're going to shut the house down. And he goes, well, don't you have any gizmos or anything you want to pull out? And it's like, dude, we don't work like that. We're not a television show. We actually solve people's problems, So Vicky goes into the thing, and she shuts the house down, and immediately you can feel the energy change. It's just like it's like a small explosion. That's the way I feel it. It's just like boom. It's like totally different. And then Vicky goes, okay, we've done it. She goes, we need to go outside for a little while. And so we went outside. And all of a sudden, we hear this thunder, like boom, 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 boom. And these horses from the far side of the field come running up to the fence to greet us.
Wow.
Jeez.
Like, thank you so much for doing.
The owner of the house and the horses, she said, they have never, ever done that. And I said, you've been set free. The house is free, and you've been set free.
Have you ever had anybody it come back? Have you ever gone somewhere and you thought you cleansed it and so? No.
One time we did, and we went right back out and we cleansed it, and we asked for angelic protection to come down and keep out, shut the portal down and keep everything out and make that house shine, with love and angelic protection. And we went back out because the first time the owner didn't want it. Okay, so big deal. We're not going to do it. And then the second time, oh yeah, go ahead, do that thing. Yeah. And then boom, it was like night and day. The house was dark. It looked like no matter how many lights you turned on inside the house, it was still dark. And then after we did that, everything was bright and normal. As
interesting, it's like Mother Nature itself responded.
Yeah, but everything.
How about you? That's a good question. Have you done blessings and the sort of thing, and then find you have to go back later? It just didn't work.
I wouldn't say it didn't work. I've actually had a couple of clients where they ended up missing some of the spirits. So they tried to bring them back in and not realizing what they were doing. And it made it, real bad. I'll just put it that way. But I've also had clients just, a lot of people don't realize that when you do a blessing or a cleansing like this, you can't pick and choose. You can't say, well, I want to keep Aunt Sally, but get rid of this guy.
Right.
It's total like clean slate. So what they end up doing is they go to extreme measures. They start, bringing in heirlooms, and they start, invoking things. They start doing stuff.
No, that'll work.
There was only one time, I won't say this didn't work, but I was actually asked to stop. About halfway through, I was doing a client, and she felt that her uncle was there, and she was very close. He was like a father. Her short version, father was very abusive in multiple ways, and uncle was more like a father figure. And he was there basically still watching over her. Very, very intelligent spirit. It would interact with us, got great EVPs, great evidence, would knock on command for us. Great. It was great. But I explained to her, I was like, look, this isn't where he's supposed to be. He needs to understand that too. You have a husband now, you've got a family here. You need to live your life. You have to let go. You have to move forward. You can't move forward in your future while still holding on to the past. You can't do it. And I explained the same thing to him. So we started doing the blessing, and I started praying, and she comes bursting through the back door saying to stop. And at that point, there was no point, because she would end up hurting herself or others doing more. But that's really about it. But I haven't really had any come back, like spirits that I've prayed for. Haven't really had any of them come back.
Excellent. No, that's a great answer. Greg, have you been part of any investigations where you found that you thought you got rid of the ghost, if you will, and then you've had to go back?
The only time that we even crossed a spirit, was a situation where the person that actually crossed the spirit, we were duped, because the one that wanted to cross was there, and we had all the signs and everything were given to us as far as their willingness to want to cross. And then they faded away for a second. And when they came back, it wasn't the same. So what it was and what it turned out to be, a lady that didn't want him to cross, wanted him to stay there with her.
She couldn't let go.
And she couldn't let go. And he came back and we started again, and it was like, and he was right here, and it was like he went, and she was upset.
Wow. I thought really. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But in that direction, I still think it's choice. I mean, it's, you're dealing with individuals just like here, and you can't go ahead and try to do a blanket type of crossing over. I don't think. I've seen it done multiple times where go to the light and you got 7 or 8 or 9, supposedly that's what they say, and they cross, and it's like, oh, I love the person that does it. I really do. And that's their responsibility, and it's not mine. So it's really not mine to question. If they believe it in their own heart that that's what happened, that's what happened.
Goes to
maybe it did. I think maybe it might be easier than we think, and it's a little bit like Staples.
Exactly.
Maybe it is, and they just need a willingness on you of that spirit to cross. Matt, you mentioned heirlooms earlier, and that they were able to bring the spirit back via using things like trigger objects in a way, and I find that really, really fascinating, because that is a way to communicate with spirits, and it's been written about, and I've been told this, before. If you're trying to communicate with a spirit of, say, a loved one, you may want to try to recreate a scenario in which you experienced it. Man, it might be the smells or different objects, around you, or, pictures of them. It's almost like, I want your guys' opinion on this, everyone's opinion. You're conditioning yourself to communicate with the spirit. It's not really that those heirlooms are there for the spirit per se, but maybe something goes on within that allows that portal to be open. Thoughts?
I think it's both ways. I think it's not just for us to open up and make ourselves susceptible to the paranormal or the supernatural, whatever you want to call it, but also the spirits as well themselves. Like, they hold on to something that they really cared about. And the way I think of like a trigger object or these heirlooms, it's a tool, just like anything else. Used properly can work great. Used improperly, bad things can happen. And I think that if you don't know the field, if you don't know the practices, because let's be honest, it's not perfect, but there are some do's and don'ts, and I don't know, like to sit here and the whole, exactly. And that's the big thing, is the respect of the field and the respect of these spirits. And some people, and a lot of my clients, it's just nothing. I don't mean this in a negative term, but it's greed. They don't want to let go. They don't want to let go of their loved ones that have passed. They want to hold on to that.
And that's why they're there.
Exactly. So that's why there's the issues.
Well, before anybody else, I just want to post something or say something pertaining to what the circumstance that I was involved with. And that went over almost 14 hours. Okay. And it wasn't until hour 13 that it was actually finalized, because I wanted to make sure, and so did the medium that was with me, because it's like, you don't know, you want everything to be, all your ducks to be in a row, literally. And that's the wrong thing to say, but at the same point,
you're right.
It's something that, you have to be serious about. And then after it was over, the next day, I can remember I was in a Psychics Unite meeting, And I was talking to my mentor, and I said, I can't believe that really happened. Because it's not something that you should take lightly. This is a big occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually another human being that's actually crossing over to the other realm, and it's not to be taken lightly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run into a circumstance on an investigation where you got people that come into a room and they go, "Oh, we're going to cross them over," and I said, we just got here for, that's
Right.
not right. It's not. You're not being respectful.
You won't say something like, a individual or a business, want to unhaunt their haunted location, like the Lizzie Borden house. Like they don't want to necessarily cross over Lizzie Borden. Now do that.
Right. Well, that was the point too. Is you're probably stepping on somebody else's toes.
Exactly. Yes.
When it comes to something like that.
Yeah. Reggie says pure unconditional love is the only trigger object he uses.
That's it.
Thank you,
Reggie.
Now, from my point of view, there's different perspectives on this, but if you're an abuser, you don't feel good about yourself, not unless you're abusing. And if you're an abusee, you're suffering from Stockholm syndrome because you'll do anything to not be abused by the abuser. So you'll just go along with whatever they do.
Yeah, we agree.
But when one is removed, the other one only has a half of life. So they miss being abused, or they miss abusing somebody. So they need that entity that they've had that relationship with to be around, or they will go out and seek another one to replace it.
To feed off each other, right? And if they can't,
I need this on tape.
Yeah,
Dr.
and
Mike.
this is not soulmate. Okay, don't get me wrong. This is not a soulmate situation. This is Stockholm syndrome, where one person being abused will do anything because they don't want to divorce or get rid of this person, even after death. Even after death, because why?
You're conditioned.
Bingo. You're
Right.
programmed. You're
Being
programmed
haunted.
and conditioned to believe that is a normal set of standards in a relationship. And I'm sorry, it is not. But
What do you think about that, Ann? I'm sorry.
yeah, even after death, they try to continue that.
I think a lot of. I'm sorry. What? I'm having trouble hearing.
It's okay. We were wondering about what you feel. It's like if there's an abuser and abusee, and they need to feed off each other. The
I
spirit.
think it's the way a lot of people are raised, what they're used to, how they grew up, what they're afraid of anything else. They don't know anything else. That's how.
That's right.
That's part of the generational curses I talk about all the time.
Yes, that's it.
People are repeating their parents because that's all they know.
Generational curses. That's an interesting topic. What do you think of generational curses? What are they specifically?
To me, I believe it's that it has a lot to do with religion and how you're raised and what you're used to. We all know what's right and we all know what's wrong. But if everybody else is doing it, I am too. And that's not right. It's not truth. You're doing it because that's what you're used to. And this whole world is changing. It's not going to be like that forever.
No.
And the fear and separation and divide that this country is breathing on, there are way too many people that aren't falling for it. That you are, what your power lies in how you handle what other people do. You can't change what other people do, but you can change how you react, what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a really great song out right now. I'm sorry, I'm going to scroll to this. I don't know if anybody listens to rock, heavy metal, but Disturbed.
Oh, that's my favorite. Silence.
Hey You.
Oh,
It's a
hey,
new
you.
It's all about this, about the divide.
Yeah.
I actually just asked him the other night to please run for president. I did too. What's his name? David Dryman.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah.
Sure is.
And we agree with you wholeheartedly. We do, and we understand that.
No,
Thank you.
I just want to bring up one small point. If you're in a third world country, curses, generational curses, are in some cases actually true. And 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, you had a relative that swindled somebody out of some land or goat or a pint of wine, whatever. And they go, oh, I curse you and your family for generations. Now,
That's the karma.
Thank you.
That can happen. That's right. It's the karma.
That's karma.
And the emotional thought, energy that's
Keeps
transferred
going until you stop it.
amplifies that karma. And it comes back on you tenfold.
Until you change it.
For generations, until you understand that you have a choice and you can change it.
And you were saying before, love.
Love.
You have to.
That connects all of us.
Everything.
Our heartbeat, it's all connected.
A realization that maybe it's over and you can move on, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yep.
That's right. Break the cycle. Break the chain.
Yes. Break the chain. Break the cycle.
That binds
Work under
you
shadow.
to that thing. Okay, and it's like there's a saying in the Bible that says, "I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, and I fear no evil." Well, no, let's change that and say, "I walk through hell, and I emanate love."
Yep. I'm changing it, baby. I'm changing it.
We both are. You know that.
I'll walk through hell for anybody, but I'm going to emanate love as I do it.
I'm going to love you while you're down there. I'm just going to sit there and love you until you're ready to love yourself.
Mother Teresa, God rest her soul, walked through every third world nation. And she talked to multi-billionaires to give her money so she could go and feed the poor and the needy, help the needy. And she walked through war-torn countries. And people would gather around her, and she just emanated love. She says,
love and light. You had.
That's right. Love and light. That's right. And I say now, because I'm older and a little bit less stupid, and I say, you be you and you live your best life you possibly can. And you, if you have to imagine what it's like to be free, then you be free. You imagine it. You just create it, and it will create. The universe becomes compliant. And I want everyone to understand your thoughts make the gears and the universe comply. And it will just provide a way for you. There's another saying, knock on the door and the door will be answered unto you. That's because you have focused your mind to make this happen, and the universe and all of its gears and wisdoms will turn out the best in every situation. It could be painful. It could be, there was a guy who said, I prayed to God for strength and he made me weak. I prayed for him for peace and he just threw war in my face. And so when I died, I asked him, why did you do that? And he says, to make you strong and peaceful.
Balance.
And that is, it's a dichotomy, but at the same time, it's the lesson sometimes we need to learn. We just don't get it for free. We have to kind of learn the lesson and then we understand. So
the lesson will repeat itself until it's learned.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
The lesson will repeat itself until you learn it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. Well, guys, I know we have a couple of hungry kids, so we're gonna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I can hear the natives in the next room getting
restless. Yeah. Well, thank you.
It's been fantastic. Before we go, I'd like to go around the panel.
Yes,
and
please.
Tell
Matt.
people what best place to find you, and we'll start with you, Matt.
Oh, I'm all over. You can find me on the Paracrew Podcast. You can find me on Paralinks, Parapost Network Central, Paranormal Consultant on Facebook, Paracrew Podcast on YouTube. I'm all over.
You are.
Excellent. Dr. Michael Lynch.
I'm on YouTube. I have the Lynch Factor, or just type in Michael Lynch, and you'll get a list of things that I talk about. Dreams the other night. I did a week's worth of research, and then one night I went to bed, and on Friday morning I woke up and I go, "Oh, I know how it works." So sometimes you got to sleep on your problems to figure them all out. And I'm on Facebook. You can message me, friend me, whatever. And I'm always out. These guys over here, Chris and Kristen, can always find me. I don't know why. I could be in the deep dark part of the woods, and they always they always say, "Where are you? We're worried." Did they come and pick you up? And it's like, no, my Huggy jacket works really well. But Facebook, YouTube, I'm out there somewhere.
Excellent. Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
I have a private group, Rising of the Phoenix. You guys are on. I post this show all the time, and under my name, Anne-Marie Young.
Yep.
Excellent.
Rising of the Phoenix.
Rising of the Phoenix.
Please go. It's on Facebook, and please go like that and join.
Mr. Greg Cobb.
That was a guy in a bat suit, Dr. Mike, that went by you.
A bat suit.
The bat suit. All those guys fly in that suit.
Oh yeah.
That was a guy in a bat suit that went by you. And
there's definitely an elemental behind him.
You're awakening. No, I'm Shadow Hunters Paranormal Investigations and Events page. The shows are the Shadow Hour and Metaphysical Crossing, and
we are.
I'm on Facebook. Got my page. I also have another page on there that's starting to pick up a little bit, and it's called the Paranormal Outdoorsman. And
cool.
There's some stuff on there, and it's been for a while, and a friend of mine put it up there. I didn't even know he had done it.
Wow.
But he had these pictures of me, and it was like, are you stalking me or what? What the hell's going on here? But yeah, those are the things. You guys are awesome. I tell you, it's always a pleasure to see people that you think so much of, and you hear them and read about them. And it's extra special to be on here with Chris and Kristen. Matt, pleasure to meet you, Dr. Mike, as usual. Yeah. Oh man, I love you to death. Anne-Marie, same thing with you. Love you to death. It's a pleasure seeing you.
I've got a friend named Mary Marshall, and she's a real good, nice girl. And she said something about I said something about having a smile on her face when she investigates the paranormal, and I said, if you fight the good fight, run the good race, you'll always have a little smile of confidence about you. And that's the whole idea.
That's awesome. And Linda Judd says Greg Koss is going to be the first to interview Bigfoot.
Believe that.
Yeah,
you might.
You probably will be.
Well, this has been wonderful, and
we can hope.
We got to feed these kids because they're gonna start turning on us.
Yeah,
that's been great. Thank you very much for letting me come on.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you,
guys.
It's been our honor. Thank you
so much.
Say
hello to Mary, Dr. Mike.
I will. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Hello, Mary. Thanks for coming on.
I used to be real close to her.
Yeah.
I think we awesome lady.
We all have so much in common, and with all of our brain cells, we can come up with a better version of whatever we've set our minds to. And there's always a better way.
That's great.
Our unity right there.
It is.
All right. Thank you, folks. We will see you next Thursday on the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. Thank you.
Much love, guys.